Chapter 2403. Longao originally wanted his mother to swallow the spiritual primal chaos stone tablet and become the ruler of the universe. In the end, Longao never would have thought that his good intentions would harm his mother. Xiling sighed deeply. Even she had no way to deal with the spiritual primal chaos stone tablet. Longao, don't worry. Auntie will definitely be fine. And since things were already like this, there was no point in saying more. The most important thing now was to quickly understand the situation with the spiritual primal chaos stone tablet and wake his mother up. The longer he delayed, the worse it would be for his mother. What should he do? Just as Longao couldn't think of a solution, Murong Yinner suddenly found Longao and said, "Brother Long, I have a guess. I don't know if it's true or not. Tell me." Longao didn't have much hope. Although he trusted Yinner, he didn't know much about the primal chaos stone tablet, much less Yinner. "Brother Long, Mother swallowed the spiritual primal chaos stone tablet, right?" "That's right." Longao didn't know what Yin-Er was trying to say. Others might not know, but Yin-Er and the others knew. The primal chaos stone tablet their mother had swallowed was one of the 12 primal chaos stone tablets, the spirit primal chaos stone tablet. Since she knew, what did Yin-Er mean? He couldn't figure it out. "Brother Long, the spiritual primal chaos stone tablet's power, without a doubt, is the so-called spirit. If Mother wants to refine the spiritual primal chaos stone tablet, she will definitely come into contact with the spirit primal chaos stone tablet's power." Slowly, Longao began to understand Yin-Er's meaning. He was very excited. Mother's strength is there. If she were to refine the other tablets, there wouldn't be any problems. Only the spiritual primal chaos stone tablet is impossible. Not just Mother. I believe that no matter who it is, without a strong spirit as a backup, they will encounter this situation. Nodding in agreement, Longao completely understood Yin-Er's meaning. If nothing unexpected happened, Yin-Er's guess was correct. Murong Yinner's meaning was actually very simple. The 24 primal chaos stone tablets, apart from his own non-elemental primal chaos stone tablet which didn't have any elemental attribute, all the other primal chaos stone tablets contained their own elemental attributes. The primal chaos stone tablet his mother had swallowed contained the so-called spiritual energy. Spiritual chaos stone tablet, the spiritual energy contained within. Just thinking about it, one would know what it meant. This was just like, if his mother's spiritual energy was a drop of water, then the spiritual energy contained within the spiritual chaos stone tablet was a vast ocean. He tried to imagine what would happen if a drop of water tried to swallow an ocean. What kind of concept was that? He had completely dug his own grave. He had made a mistake, because Longao had not thought of this from start to finish. In the end, he still did not understand the attributes of the 12 chaos stone tablets, especially the spiritual chaos stone tablet. It was because of his mistake that his mother almost died. Guilt. However, Longao was very clear in his heart that no matter how much he blamed himself at this time, it was useless. The most important thing now was to think of a way to help his mother. Since he already knew the root of the problem, then the following matters would be much easier. "Yin-Er, thank you. It's nothing. Quickly go and save your mother." Longao smiled and immediately turned around to return to the Primal Chaos Palace. This time, he really had to thank Murong Yinner, because if not for Yin-Er's reminder, who knew how long it would have taken him to figure out the reason? Not only him, even Xiling, including everyone else, didn't think of this reason. Although he already knew the reason, to truly help his mother, it was still very difficult. Without any other choice, Longao found Xiling. After telling Xiling the root of the problem, Longao asked, "Xiling, what should I do now? Only then can I help my mother." The current Longao, because of his mother's sudden coma, Longao's mind was in a mess. Longao was also a human, not a god. Xiling thought for a moment, then said, "Longao, if we withdraw the primal chaos stone tablet now, not only will your mother's condition not improve, it might even backfire, so we can't do that." "That's right." Longao, of course, knew what Xiling was saying. This was also what he was thinking. They definitely couldn't do that. If anything happened to his mother, how could he explain it to himself? How could he explain it to his father? Nothing could happen to his mother. Longao, if you trust me, why don't we try it together? Xiling, if I didn't trust you, I wouldn't have asked you to come. Longao had absolute confidence in Xiling. Otherwise, he wouldn't have told Xiling the secret of the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. After all, everyone knew what the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet meant. Xiling smiled, because she knew what Longao meant. For someone to trust her so much, she was really happy. Longao, Yin is right. Your mother's spiritual power is completely unable to fight against the spiritual power of the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. The only thing we need to do now is to continuously strengthen your mother's spiritual power. You and I, on the other hand, don't have enough power. If I can recover my peak strength, perhaps I can help your mother. The Oracle? That's right, it's the Oracle. In the vast universe, the Oracle is the only master of the universe. But we can't let him know about this, otherwise we'll be in big trouble. Longao, of course, knew about this. Previously, outsiders didn't know where the 12 Primal Chaos Stone Tablets had gone. They only knew that they were scattered everywhere. Longao was almost certain that if the Oracle found out about this, not only would he not be able to help his mother, but he might even be killed. No matter what happened, this matter couldn't be leaked. That way, he wouldn't be able to find the Oracle. But according to Xiling, the Oracle was the only master of the universe who could help his mother. Violet Spirit, I'm going to exclude Master Clairvoyant. Just tell me what we should do to save Mother. If there was really no other way, even if he had to risk being discovered by the God Diviner, he would still have to look for the God Diviner. He couldn't just watch his mother remain unconscious and eventually be devoured by the Primal Chaos Tablet. If that were to happen, he would rather die than live. How could Xiling not know what Longao meant? But other than the Oracle, it would be difficult for anyone to help Mu Lin. After thinking about it, Xiling finally came up with a solution. Chapter 2404. Longao, I'm sure you know better than I do just how terrifying the Primal Chaos Tablet's power is. He nodded. Of all the Primal Chaos Tablets, the Primal Chaos Tablet was the most unique. The power of the mind was also a very special kind of power. If we casually help Auntie, when the time comes, not only will Auntie be in trouble, but we will also be swallowed up by the Primal Chaos Tablet. Longao knew exactly what Xiling meant. Although they'd both obtained Primal Chaos Tablets, they hadn't truly refined them. Taking a step back, even if they did refine them and became rulers of the universe, they still wouldn't be able to truly control the power within them. If that was the case, no matter which Primal Chaos Tablet it was, it could actually backfire on them and swallow them whole. This was what Longao and Xiling were most depressed about. Longao, there's only one way to help Auntie, but it's very dangerous. No. Without waiting for Xiling to finish speaking, Longao had already interrupted her and said, Xiling, no matter what, I will save you. In front of me, what method do you have? Xiling, of course, knew Longao's character well. In order to save his mother, he was willing to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of flames. Longao, there are many forbidden areas in the vast starry sky. They are known as the forbidden zones of the starry sky. Many of them are so forbidden that not even the rulers of the starry sky, including the Master God Diviner, can enter them. Longao had heard a thing or two about the starry sky forbidden zones that Xiling spoke of. No one dared to take half a step into the starry sky forbidden zones. As for whether or not the rulers of the universe dared to enter, it was still unknown. But now that Xiling had said it, and he'd said it, it seemed that the starry sky forbidden zones were extremely dangerous. Even the rulers of the universe didn't dare take half a step into them. Xiling, the starry sky forbidden zones you speak of? The starry sky forbidden zones I speak of, I call them the starry sky forbidden zones. Starry sky forbidden zones? What did that mean? Without waiting for Longao to speak, Xiling continued, only my sister and I know about this starry sky forbidden zone. Back then, the two of us were traveling through the vast starry sky and accidentally discovered a forbidden zone. It was this forbidden spiritual zone. Longao didn't say anything. He just listened quietly. Although my sister and I didn't step into it, we could clearly sense from the outside that there was a powerful mental energy within the forbidden spiritual area. Even I didn't dare to approach it at that time. If I did, I would be devoured by the mental energy released by the forbidden spiritual area. Spiritual backlash? Longao already knew what Xiling meant. He was very surprised. If Xiling hadn't said it himself, he wouldn't have believed it. Who would have thought that there were other forces in the vast cosmos that could counterattack against the Star-Lord? Although Luo Yunyang's mind power was strong, it was still impossible for him to retaliate against the Starry Sky ruler. It could be seen from this. Just how terrifying was the spiritual energy contained in the spiritual forbidden area. Xiling, where is the forbidden spiritual zone? Longao couldn't wait. As he said, as long as he could save his mother, he had to go to the forbidden spiritual area no matter what danger he encountered, even if he knew that he would die. According to Xiling, apart from the oracle, the forbidden spiritual area seemed to be the only way to save his mother. This time, he had to go. Xiling knew Longao's character very well. He had no choice but to tell him the truth and said, "Longao, I'll go with you this time." Longao waved his hand and said, "Xiling, I know you mean well, but the Empire still needs you to protect it. If something happens to both you and me, then if anything happens to the Empire, Longao didn't want to continue because Xiling already knew what he meant. Longao didn't give Xiling any chance to speak. He turned and left. The Empire is free of you. Before Longao left, he found his big brother and told him the whole story. Big brother, you have to help me keep this a secret. I'll leave father and the Empire to you. If anything happens to me, seventh brother, you'll be fine. Longao smiled. Big brother, I'm just saying, I'm very lucky. I'll be fine. Before waiting for Long Ying to speak, Longao already took a step out, his entire person disappearing without a trace. Long Ying sighed deeply. Long Ying knew that without his seventh brother, the Empire would soon be destroyed. Even if they managed to devour the Chaos Tablet, it would be nonsense. According to the location Xiling had told him, Longao left the plane and headed for the forbidden spiritual area as quickly as he could. The starry sky was vast and boundless. Not even Master God Diviner and the others knew how vast the starry sky was. Because of this, there were many forbidden areas in the starry sky, some of which even the starry sky ruler didn't dare take half a step into. Even with Longao's speed, it took him a few days to barely reach the destination. He was surprised, because the area around the forbidden spiritual area was desolate and uninhabited. There wasn't a single plane in sight. It was pitch black, as though the primal chaos had yet to be created. It was strange, even sinister. In the distance, Longao saw an enormous sphere off in the distance. He sped up. A few minutes later, Longao arrived at the forbidden spiritual area. Thousands of meters away, Longao could clearly sense the terrifying psychic energy emanating from the forbidden spiritual area. It fiercely attacked him, and he hurriedly retreated. If he was too slow, the consequences would be unthinkable. He was certain that his own mind would be devoured by the psychic energy released by the forbidden spiritual area. What a terrifying psychic energy devour! Longao's face was as dark as it could get. Listening to Xiling was one thing, but actually seeing the forbidden spiritual area was another. If he hadn't seen it, he wouldn't have known, but now he was scared out of his wits. It was depressing. Fortunately, he had brought his mother with him. If something unexpected happened, he could deal with it at any time. Longao had already thought about it. If something really happened to him, then his mother would die with him. If he died, his mother would have no one to save her. He would be buried with her. This time, he had to succeed. If he didn't succeed, he would die trying. Clenching his fists, Longao stared at the forbidden spiritual area in front of him. He tried to take a step forward to see if there was a way to get close to the forbidden spiritual area. If he couldn't even get close to the forbidden spiritual area, then there was no way he could enter it. If he wanted to borrow the power of the forbidden spiritual area to save his mother, it would be complete nonsense. Chapter 2405. He was very anxious. Longao was very anxious, because the longer he delayed, the worse it would be for his mother. He had to deal with the forbidden spiritual zone as fast as possible. Between the God Diviner and the forbidden spiritual zone, Longao would definitely choose the forbidden spiritual zone without hesitation and give up on the God Diviner. If he couldn't succeed, then if he didn't die, he would have to ask the God Diviner for help. The forbidden spiritual zone emitted terrifying spiritual energy all around. As long as Longao got close, he would be devoured by the spiritual energy released by the forbidden spiritual zone. 1,000 meters. At most 1,000 meters. Longao had already discovered the distance between him and the forbidden spiritual zone. As long as he got within 1,000 meters, he would definitely be devoured by the spiritual energy. What should he do? Looking at the forbidden spiritual zone in front of him, Longao couldn't think of a good idea. Finally, helpless, Longao could only summon the attribute-less Primal Chaos Stone Tablet from the Primal Chaos Palace and try to see if it could help him get close to the forbidden spiritual zone. The attribute-less Primal Chaos Stone Tablet was obviously of a high grade. However, the result was that Longao couldn't truly control the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, much less the power within. The result was obvious. The attribute-less Primal Chaos Stone Tablet couldn't help Longao get close to the forbidden spiritual zone. He was furious. Using his finger as a sword, he slashed down towards the forbidden spiritual zone. Controlling space, one could shatter space. Not only could one create space tiers, one could even compress space tiers. This was because Longao's strength wasn't strong enough. If his cultivation base could smoothly break through the limit of the Starry Sky Immortal Realm or the half-step Starry Sky Ruler Realm, not to mention others, this move alone was enough to disdain the Starry Sky. Legend of Space, just one step away from officially becoming a space immortal. However, this step was as hard as ascending to the heavens. Under the shattering space, countless space tiers began to appear, and they were being forcefully compressed. Taking advantage of the shattering space, Longao took a step forward and teleported, disappearing from his spot. This was Longao. If it was anyone else, they wouldn't dare to do so. Longao's actions were completely suicidal. Longao was now completely anxious. If it was in the past, he definitely wouldn't have done this. Although Longao could move forward for a short period of time with the help of the cracks in the starry sky, the consequences would be unimaginable if there were any mishap. He would probably be consigned to eternal damnation. At this moment of life and death, it was truly a moment of life and death. At this moment, Longao no longer cared about his own life. Even if he died, as long as he could save his mother, it would be worth it. The spatial rift began to crazily devour the surrounding spiritual power. Longao took advantage of this spatial crack and used spatial teleportation to quickly head towards the mind-forbidden area. Longao had never thought that even if he was close to the spiritual forbidden area, what could he do? However, Longao couldn't care less about anything else. Huff, huff, huff. The spatial rift devoured spiritual energy, and the spiritual energy devoured the spatial rift in return. Both sides were fiercely entangled with each other, fighting to the death. Creak. If this were any other place, with Longao's current strength, he could teleport for a long distance. But right now, Longao had only managed to teleport for 300 meters before he was stopped by the spiritual power. Thankfully, there was the spatial rift. Otherwise, just the surrounding spiritual power alone would have been enough to devour Longao's spirit clean. One could imagine the consequences. Even so, Longao was still severely injured and nearly died from the backlash of the spiritual power. He did not dare to continue forward. Under such circumstances, if he were to continue forward, the only path left for him would be death. Immediately, he tore through the spatial rift once more. Taking advantage of the fact that the spatial rift was devouring the spiritual power, Longao headed back the way he came. It could be said that he had taken a trip to the gates of hell. Sitting down on the ground, Longao was panting heavily. He knew clearly that if he had been the slightest bit careless, he would have long been dead by now. He was indignant. He was just one step away from getting close to the spiritual ground. But that single step was a failure. If only the Chaos Palace could be shifted. Longao was well aware of the power of the Chaos Palace. Even his spiritual power could not devour the Chaos Palace. But it was a pity that he could not truly control the power of the Chaos Palace to shift its position. This was the most depressing thing for Longao. The more anxious he was, the more Longao could not calm down. Even if it was a life and death battle, he would not be like this. No matter what, his mother was the most important person to him. Nothing must happen to her. It was still because his strength was not enough. If he could break through to the Starry Sky Immortal level, then both his mastery of the Starry Sky and his speed would be greatly enhanced. With that, his chances of getting close to the forbidden spiritual ground would be greatly increased as well. He did not continue because Longao knew that in this situation, even if he died, he would not be able to take half a step closer to the spiritual forbidden area. Rather than that, he might as well think of every method to try and see how he could raise his cultivation and save himself from wasting time. He immediately sat down cross-legged. Now that Longao's cultivation base had reached the complete Starry Sky Legend realm, he was only one step away from reaching the Starry Sky Immortal level. However, Longao had tried many times but failed to break through. Relying on the time he had now, it was definitely far from enough. The best way was to use the mysterious power of the Chaos Palace. Unfortunately, if he could not control the Chaos Palace, he would not be able to mobilize the mysterious power at will. If that was the case, it would be nonsense for him to wait for the mysterious power. Instead of waiting for the mysterious power of the Chaos Palace, it was better to think of other ways to raise his strength quickly. 9 Revolution Chaos Formula? That would not work either. Ever since he broke through the 6th revolution of the 9 Revolution Chaos Formula, it was very difficult for him to continue breaking through even if he was in a life-or-death situation. It was almost impossible to reach the 7th revolution. Moreover, ever since he broke through the 6th revolution, Longao finally knew that the 9 Revolution Reincarnation Formula he possessed was the so-called 9 Revolution Chaos Formula. No one knew how to break through the 7th revolution. He could not count on the Chaos Palace, nor could he count on the 9 Revolution Chaos Formula. After thinking about it, Longao really could not think of a good way to break through the current realm in the shortest time. The next day, Longao's cultivation base still had not broken through smoothly. He was really depressed to the extreme. If this continued, even if he could break through in the future, he was afraid that everything would be delayed. His mother would not wait for anyone. If she missed the opportunity because of him, then he would be sorry for his mother. Chapter 2406. Continue to fight. Longao couldn't wait any longer. He held the Chaos Axe in his hand. This time, even if he died, he had to get close to the forbidden spiritual land. All of this depended on the Chaos Axe. With a stride, Longao's figure directly rushed out without using the space teleportation. Longao's Chaos Axe in his hand directly and quickly slashed out with the so-called Starry Sky Mastery. Under the combination of the two, countless cracks began to appear in the surrounding space and began to devour the surrounding spiritual power. The Chaos Axe in Longao's hand was slashing out faster and faster. The speed was too fast. After images flashed and the cracks in the surrounding space appeared one after another. It was continuous. This time, Longao held the Chaos Axe in his hand and continued to open up space. Step by step, he quickly moved towards the forbidden spiritual land. Longao did not dare to hesitate in the slightest because he knew very well in his heart that he could not relax in the slightest. Once his speed slowed down, he would definitely fail at the last moment. He had to succeed. The distance of 1,000 meters was too close for Longao. He only needed a few steps to reach it smoothly. The closer he was to the forbidden spiritual land, the stronger the spiritual backlash was. Even so, Longao still moved forward bravely without hesitation. Every step was like stepping over a volcano. It was extremely difficult. Just as he was a few meters away from the forbidden spiritual land, about a meter away, the situation suddenly changed. The spiritual backlash all around disappeared without a trace. It was still happening outside, but it had stopped inside. Putting away the Chaos Axe in his hand, Longao was very curious. He didn't know why the spiritual backlash suddenly disappeared less than a meter away from the forbidden spiritual land. But even so, Longao still didn't dare to relax. According to Xiling, When Xiling and Bai Ling came to the forbidden spiritual land, even with their powerful strength, they still couldn't step into the forbidden spiritual land. One could imagine how terrifying the forbidden spiritual land was. Although the spiritual backlash had temporarily disappeared, Longao still didn't dare to have any negligence. No one knew when the spiritual backlash around would spread. Longao was really too afraid of the spiritual backlash. Fortunately, he had the help of the Chaos Axe this time. Otherwise, it would be a dream to step within a meter of the forbidden spiritual land. The forbidden spiritual land, a huge entrance that was extremely dark. Manic spiritual power, surging madly. Just a little closer was like approaching a volcano. What a terrifying spiritual power. Longao didn't dare to step in, because the spiritual power within a meter was more terrifying than the spiritual backlash outside. At least 10 times stronger. What kind of concept? In the current situation, there was about a third of a meter of space between the space inside and the space outside. Longao was safe here. As for whether the spiritual counterattack would spread to this vacuum space, nobody knew. This was what was the most to worry to the forbidden spiritual land. In order to prevent the internal and external spiritual backlash from affecting his vacuum space, it was best to think of a way to enter the forbidden spiritual zone as quickly as possible. Until now, Longao still didn't know anything about the forbidden spiritual land. As for whether he would live or die after entering, no one knew what kind of danger he would encounter. But even so, Longao still chose to enter without hesitation. Even if he knew that he would encounter danger, and whether he would live or die, he still went in. This was the so-called, knowing that there are tigers in the mountain. Everything was worth it for his mother. Longao released his power and began to sense the spiritual power at the entrance, trying to enter. But the result? He couldn't take half a step in. Longao was very depressed. Things had already come to this. If he chose to give up like this, even he wouldn't be able to forgive himself. Longao could be sure that as long as he took half a step, which was within a meter, he would definitely be devoured by the spiritual power in an instant. Not even a strand of hair would be left. Although he could die for his mother, Longao couldn't die for nothing. Acting recklessly would not only harm himself, but also his mother. He had to protect himself. That was the only way he could save his mother. Longao still tried to use the Chaos Axe to see if he could forcefully break open the entrance. Even if he took 10,000 steps back, even if he couldn't break open the entrance, if he could successfully bring himself into the forbidden spiritual land, that would be a pretty good thing. The reason he came to the forbidden spiritual land this time round wasn't to destroy the entrance. It was to enter the forbidden spiritual land. There was one more thing that Longao couldn't grasp. Even if he could enter the forbidden spiritual land, he didn't know what kind of dangers he would encounter. Whether he could use the forbidden spiritual land to help his mother, he didn't know either. But even if there was only a 1 in a million chance that he could help his mother wake up, Longao would still choose to enter without hesitation. Boom, boom, boom. Along with the Chaos Axe, axe after axe slammed down continuously. Based on the strength of the Chaos Axe, he should be able to break open the entrance. But the result? There was no movement at all. The spirit at the entrance danced wildly, completely ignoring the Chaos Axe. Longao was extremely frustrated right now. He had been using the Chaos Axe to smash down wildly, but he still hadn't managed to break open the entrance. If that was the case, it would be extremely difficult for him to enter the forbidden spiritual land. What should he do? Longao was wary of the backlash from the spirit inside and outside. He didn't know when he would be affected by the backlash in this so-called vacuum zone. The longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. Longao wouldn't give up so easily. If the Chaos Axe couldn't do it, then he would use the Chaos Seal. But the Chaos Seal still couldn't do it. If that was the case, it seemed like his elemental Chaos Stone Tablet wouldn't work either. He was at a loss. For a moment, Longao didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to enter the forbidden spiritual land. Time Chaos Stone Tablet? Longao tried to summon out the Time Chaos Stone Tablet that his mother had devoured from the Chaos Hall. Before Longao floated a Chaos Stone Tablet. It was one of the 12 Chaos Stone Tablets that he had obtained, the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet. The surrounding was filled with spirit energy. If the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet could help him devour the surrounding spirit energy, he might be able to step into the forbidden spiritual land. The Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet did not suffer any backlash from the surrounding spiritual energy. After all, the spiritual energy within the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet was the ancestor of all spiritual energy. Not to mention the current spiritual energy, even if it was 10 times or 100 times stronger, wanting to devour the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet would be nonsense. Chapter 2407. Longao didn't refine the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet, so he couldn't control it. Everything depended on luck. He hoped that the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet could help him enter the spiritual forbidden land. The Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet started to revolve crazily. It didn't devour the spiritual energy around it. Instead, it started to revolve the spiritual energy around it. What was going on? It was very depressing. If the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet couldn't help him enter the forbidden spiritual land, then he really couldn't think of any other way to smoothly enter the forbidden spiritual land. But in the next second, before Longao could react, the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet suddenly exploded with a terrifying spiritual energy. There was no counterattack. Longao was overjoyed. It seemed like the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet was affected by the attribute-less Chaos Stone Tablet and didn't counterattack him. Taking advantage of the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet's suppression of the spiritual energy around him. With a big stride, Longao fearlessly walked towards the entrance. So, in the blink of an eye, Longao disappeared without a trace. Inside the spiritual forbidden land, Longao had just stepped in and thought that he would be attacked by endless spiritual energy. But the result? There was no movement at all. What was going on? Longao was very puzzled. He didn't know what was going on inside the spiritual forbidden land. He didn't receive any spiritual energy attacks. After confirming again and again, he found that he didn't receive any spiritual energy attacks. Longao finally heaved a sigh of relief. The spiritual energy outside was already so strong, not to mention the spiritual energy inside. He believed that it would be even more terrifying. Looking around, there was a black mass everywhere, giving people a very oppressive feeling. As for the situation inside the spiritual forbidden land, not to mention himself, even Xiling didn't know. Because when Xiling found this place, he couldn't even take half a step in. Everything depended on himself. His mother's situation was very dangerous. He couldn't waste any time and immediately started to act. To wake his mother up and not be attacked by the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet, the only way was to continuously strengthen his mother's spiritual energy. There wasn't a trace of spiritual energy around. Longao did not hesitate in the slightest and immediately started running. Longao's speed was extremely fast. He even used teleportation, hoping to find what he was looking for. The forbidden spiritual land was boundless. Even with Longao's speed, after running for 2 hours, he still hadn't reached the boundary of the spiritual forbidden zone. What kind of concept was that? No matter where he went, the environment was the same. There was no change. This was not the way to go. In the end, with no other choice, Longao could only use the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet again, hoping that by relying on the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet, he would be able to find the so-called Spirit Origin. Spirit Origin. This was what Xiling had told Longao before he left. The spiritual energy within the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet was too strong. Normal spiritual energy would not be able to suppress the spiritual energy's backlash. Who knew if his mother would be able to resist the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet's backlash after devouring the spiritual energy? The only spiritual energy was the so-called Spirit Origin. Only within the forbidden spiritual land. Whether or not there was a Spirit Origin, no one knew. Xiling was just guessing. Hence, Longao was also looking at his own luck, looking at his mother's luck. He hoped that there really was a Spirit Origin in the forbidden spiritual land. Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet. Whether or not my mother will be safe depends on you. As if it could understand Longao's meaning, in the next second, the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet immediately rushed forward. Its speed was extremely fast. Looking at the Spirit Chaos Stone tablet that had already disappeared, Long Ao's heart was filled with joy. It seemed like there was hope. Without any hesitation, he immediately followed the Spirit Chaos Stone tablet. Long Ao's speed was extremely fast. After running for a full 10 minutes, Long Ao followed the Spirit Chaos Stone tablet and arrived in front of a water pillar. Although it was called a water pillar, it wasn't a real water pillar. It was just a spiritual pillar formed by a terrifying amount of spiritual energy, which was the so-called spirit origin. Looking at the spiritual pillar in front of him, Long Ao was extremely surprised. It was really a case of searching high and low only to find it by chance. However, even in the face of the spiritual pillar, Long Ao didn't casually make a move. This was because if there was even the slightest mistake, not only would he not be able to help his mother, he might even harm her and have the opposite effect. There couldn't be any mistakes. What should he do? For a moment, Long Ao didn't know. This was because he was very clear that his mother definitely couldn't directly devour the spirit origin. If she forcefully devoured it, she might explode from the spirit origin and die. What should he do? He definitely couldn't use the Spirit Chaos Stone tablet to devour the spirit origin. If that was the case, his mother's spiritual energy would be unable to suppress the Spirit Chaos Stone tablet. If that was the case, his mother would only end up in a coma forever. She might even be completely devoured by the Spirit Chaos Stone tablet. This was something that he absolutely couldn't do. Gently carrying his mother out of the Primal Chaos Palace, Long Ao stared at the spiritual source in front of him. Regardless of whether it would work or not, he had to try. Otherwise, he would not be able to make a decision if something happened in front of him after he had braved the danger of death and finally stepped into the spiritual forbidden area and successfully found the spiritual source. Since things had already come to this, he could only go all out. If something really happened to his mother, he would just accompany her. After thinking about it, Long Ao finally came up with a solution. He would use himself as a medium to purify the spiritual pillar and then transfer it to his mother. This was the safest thing to do. If it were anyone else, they definitely wouldn't dare to do this. This was because if there was the slightest mistake, Long Ao would definitely die. However, for his mother, let alone danger, he didn't even care if he died. Without any hesitation, Long Ao immediately came before the spiritual pillar and directly reached out with his right hand to touch the spiritual pillar. In just a short while, a steady stream of mental energy gushed out from the mental energy spring. At the fastest speed, it frantically poured into Long Ao's body. Without any hesitation, Long Ao immediately began to refine the spiritual energy in his body. If the refining speed was too slow, he would be devoured by the spiritual energy before he could transfer it to his mother. If that happened, the consequences would be unthinkable. He refined the spiritual energy in his body as quickly as possible and transferred it to his mother as quickly as possible. Even so, he still couldn't keep up. At this speed, he believed that he wouldn't be able to resist the spiritual energies devouring in less than 10 minutes. Chapter 2408. The situation was very dangerous. The longer this dragged on, the worse it would be for him and his mother. The speed of refining the mental energy was far slower than the mental energy from the outside world. As time passed, Long Ao felt that he was getting weaker and weaker. What should he do? After his mother swallowed the mental energy, her condition improved. Although she didn't immediately wake up, Long Ao was certain that in less than a day, his mother would wake up. It was very depressing. It wasn't easy to find the source of mental energy, but now it was so difficult. He couldn't let this continue. Long Ao didn't dare hesitate. He tried to borrow the power of the neutral primal chaos stone tablet to see if it could help. He didn't have the slightest bit of confidence, because until now, Long Ao still hadn't truly grasped the neutral primal chaos stone tablet. Wanting to use the power of the neutral primal chaos stone tablet was practically impossible. Just as Long Ao had guessed, the neutral primal chaos stone tablet didn't move at all. This time, Long Ao was completely dejected. If this was really the case, would he and his mother really die here? Since things had already reached this point, wanting to retreat was practically an impossible thing. However, Longao didn't dare to continue hesitating, because if he was the slightest bit careless, whether it was himself or his mother, they would all be consigned to eternal damnation. Primal Chaos Seal? Just at this moment, within Longao's body, a small black seal suddenly appeared. It was the Primal Chaos Seal from the Primal Chaos Palace. What was going on? Longao was very curious, because ever since the Dragon Seal had transformed into the Primal Chaos Seal, he didn't know anything about the Primal Chaos Seal that he had. However, Longao was almost certain that whether it was the Primal Chaos Seal, the Primal Chaos Axe, the neutral Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, or the Primal Chaos Palace, they all seemed to contain Primal Chaos Energy. Primal Chaos Energy was practically the most powerful energy in the vast universe. Even the 12 rulers of the universe hadn't truly grasped Primal Chaos Energy. If he could grasp the Primal Chaos Axe, Primal Chaos Seal, Primal Chaos Palace, and the neutral Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, he could imagine that in the future, he wouldn't need to fear anyone. However, at this moment, Longao didn't have time to think about anything else. He had to deal with the mental energy first. The Seal of Chaos released a mysterious power. As for whether it was the power of chaos or not, even Longao was not sure. He couldn't care less about anything else. Sensing that this mysterious power could actually slightly stop the crazy influx of mental power, Longao's heart was simply overjoyed to the extreme. Since then, that way, he would have enough time to continuously refine his mind power. Endless mental energy was being refined. Then, an endless stream of mental energy began to surge into Mu Lin's body, which was the so-called spiritual sea. The entire spirit source was simply too massive. No matter how Longao tried to refine it, or even devour it, the spirit source did not seem to be damaged at all. His speed became faster and faster. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed quietly. Cough, cough, cough. Seeing that his mother had finally woken up, Longao was overjoyed and immediately asked, "Mother, are you okay?" "Aoer, what happened?" After confirming that his mother was indeed okay, Longao let out a sigh of relief. He did not hide anything and told her everything that had happened. However, he did not mention the danger. "Aoer, are we okay now?" "Mother, you're fine for now. However, if you can't deal with the spiritual chaos stone tablet, you will still be devoured by it in the future." Longao was almost certain about this point. There was only one way now, and that was to continuously strengthen his mother's mind power, so strong that even the spiritual chaos stone tablet could not devour his mother. It was very simple to think about, but it was very difficult to actually do it. Longao also knew the difficulty. However, he had only refined 1/1000th of the spirit source in front of him. If his mother could really devour all of the spirit source, then she could completely ignore the backlash from the spiritual chaos stone tablet. However, Longao did not immediately start. This was because he knew how dangerous it was to forcefully devour the spirit source. He knew better than anyone else how dangerous it was to forcefully devour the spirit source. If there was a slight mistake, his mother would be doomed eternally. The consequences would be unimaginable. He did not continue talking to his mother. Since his mother was fine, the most important thing now was to quickly deal with the so-called spirit source. Otherwise, even if his mother was fine now, it did not mean that she would be fine in the future. Looking at the spirit source in front of him, Longao stared at it. In his mind, he thought of various ways to deal with the spirit source in front of him. Holding the Seal of Chaos, Longao had been sensing the power within the Seal of Chaos. This was because if it was not for the help of the Seal of Chaos, he believed that he would not be able to help his mother wake up. This also meant that he could continue to borrow the power of the Seal of Chaos to deal with the spirit source in front of him. However, the power that the Seal of Chaos had just released did not appear again. This made Longao very depressed. For a moment, Longao could not think of a way to deal with the spirit source. In the end, Longao really did not have a way. He could only choose to uproot it and return to the Empire to see if other people had a way to deal with it. However, it was not an easy task to uproot it. No matter what, the spirit source in front of him was too powerful. However, Longao was prepared to use the Primal Chaos Palace to see if he could do it. The Primal Chaos Palace floated out. Longao was very clear that with his strength, he was unable to truly control the Primal Chaos Palace. He could only rely on luck. Primal Chaos Palace, everything depends on you. Longao used his heart to communicate with the Primal Chaos Palace. As for whether it would succeed, it was unknown. However, the result shocked Longao. This was because the Primal Chaos Palace seemed to understand his words. In a short while, the palm-sized Primal Chaos Palace turned into an incomparably huge Primal Chaos Palace in the blink of an eye. Not only that, the huge Primal Chaos Palace began to crazily absorb the spirit source. This was something that should have been impossible, but in less than a few minutes, the spirit source was sucked back by the Primal Chaos Palace. Not far away, Longao was completely dumbfounded. He had thought that the Primal Chaos Palace might be able to deal with the spirit source. However, he never thought that the Primal Chaos Palace would be able to absorb the spirit source so quickly. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. Was this for real? Unbelievable. From this, one could imagine how powerful the Primal Chaos Palace was. Longao smiled and immediately followed the spirit source back to the Primal Chaos Palace. This time, his mother's crisis was completely resolved. As long as he could refine it, he would not have to worry about the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet's backlash in the future. Chapter 2409. Within the Primal Chaos Palace. This is the spirit source? Looking at the drop of water in front of him, Longao was completely dumbfounded. What happened just now? Just now, after the spirit source was absorbed by the Primal Chaos Palace, before he and his mother could react, a mysterious power appeared in the Primal Chaos Palace. It was the mysterious power that helped Longao break through. How terrifying this mysterious power was, Longao was very clear in his heart. This mysterious force began to refine the spirit origin. In just a few seconds, the huge spirit origin had been refined into a drop of water. That's right, a drop of water. This caused Longao to be very shocked. He didn't know what the Primal Chaos Palace was doing. Was the Primal Chaos Palace helping him? At this moment, Longao didn't care what the Primal Chaos Palace was doing because the spirit source had been completely refined. No matter who it was, they could easily devour it without any side effects. Without any hesitation, Mother, quickly devour the spirit source. Mulin, of course, knew what spirit source meant. If her son could devour it, his strength would definitely improve greatly. Mulin, of course, couldn't bear to devour it. You should devour it. Mother is already old. How could Longao not know what his mother meant because he guessed that his mother couldn't bear to devour the spirit source? Because according to his calculations, devouring such a powerful spirit source, if nothing unexpected happened, his mother's cultivation should be able to break through to the legend rank or even the immortal rank. What kind of concept was this? Don't mention his mother. Even if it was himself, if he could devour the spirit source water droplet in front of him, not to mention breaking through to the immortal rank, it wouldn't be impossible for him to break through to the immortal rank. Don't look at it as just a droplet. This was the power of the entire spirit source. It was incomparably powerful. Longao definitely wouldn't devour the spirit source water droplet. The spirit Primal Chaos Tablet's deterrence was there. With his mother's current spirit and strength, she couldn't compete with the spirit Primal Chaos Tablet. Unless his mother stopped refining the spirit Primal Chaos Tablet. But was that possible? It was definitely impossible. As long as it was someone close to him, Longao would do everything he could to make them devour the Primal Chaos Stone Tablets. There were no more Chaos Stone Tablets left. Even if he wanted his mother to devour the other Chaos Stone Tablets, it didn't seem too likely. Helplessly, he could only devour the spiritual Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. However, if his mother continued to refine the spiritual Primal Chaos Tablet, she would definitely be devoured by the spiritual Primal Chaos Tablet. Next time, if she couldn't find the spiritual source in time, the consequences would be unimaginable. What should he do? Mother, I won't say too much about the situation. I believe you should know that if you don't swallow this drop of water to strengthen your mental strength, you will definitely be devoured by the mental chaos stone tablet if you continue to refine it. Longao was very worried about his mother's safety. Before his mother could say anything, Longao continued, "Mother, I'm begging you. Please devour the spirit source. I don't want anything to happen to you." Mu Lin originally wanted to say something, but she sighed deeply and said helplessly, "All right." Hearing his mother agree, Longao was overjoyed. To ensure that nothing would go wrong, Longao immediately let his mother devour the spiritual source. After a while, Mu Lin had already successfully devoured the spiritual source water droplet and began to cultivate in the Primal Chaos Palace. The flow of time in the Primal Chaos Palace was much faster than outside. Longao didn't leave the Primal Chaos Palace for the time being because he was very clear that the spiritual source was very powerful. Although his mother had just devoured the spiritual source, he believed that if nothing went wrong, his mother's cultivation would quickly increase in a short period of time. No matter what, increasing one's mental strength was much easier than cultivating normally. As expected, just as Longao had guessed, in less than a day's time, his mother's cultivation rose like a rocket. If she devoured the spiritual source normally, not to mention using the spiritual source to quickly increase her strength, it was still unknown whether she could quickly refine the spiritual source. In the end, this was because the Primal Chaos Palace refined the spiritual source. This way, his mother didn't need to refine the spiritual source. She could directly absorb and fuse with it. She broke through again and again. On the second day, Mu Lin's cultivation had smoothly broken through to the starry sky immortal realm. Longao didn't expect it to be so fast. However, what surprised Longao was that his mother's cultivation didn't show any signs of stopping after breaking through to the starry sky immortal realm with the help of the spiritual source. Could it be that his mother's cultivation could break through to the starry sky immortal realm? If so, it was simply a pleasant surprise. Longao certainly knew what it meant if his mother really broke through to the starry sky immortal realm. If his mother's cultivation could really break through to the starry sky immortal realm, then refining the spiritual primal chaos tablet would be much faster. After his mother's cultivation broke through to the starry sky immortal realm, her cultivation speed had obviously slowed down a lot. This time, it took 3 days for his mother's cultivation to smoothly break through to the starry sky immortal realm. It was simply a pleasant surprise to the extreme. Longao really didn't expect that his mother could rely on the spiritual source to make rapid progress and directly rush to the so-called starry sky immortal realm. If he didn't see it with his own eyes, he really wouldn't believe it. She still hasn't stopped? Could it be that his mother could use the spiritual source to reach the half-step starry sky dominator realm in one go? It was a little unlikely because Longao knew very well that to reach the starry sky dominator realm, one had to devour the primal chaos tablet. As for reaching the half-step starry sky dominator realm, there were only 9 of them in the vast starry sky. And these 9 half-step starry sky dominators didn't rely on their own cultivation to break through. Instead, all 9 of them obtained secret realms and devoured the heart of the secret realms. That was how they broke through to the half-step starry sky dominator realm. In this way, his mother wanting to rely on the spiritual source to reach the half-step starry sky dominator realm was simply nonsense. As Longao guessed, Mu Lin wanted to rely on her own cultivation to break through to the half-step starry sky dominator realm. Opening her eyes and looking at Longao in front of her, Mu Lin said with surprise, "Ao, my cultivation has smoothly broken through to the starry sky immortal realm. However, I still have a quarter of my spiritual source left." Her cultivation had smoothly broken through to the starry sky immortal realm. Longao thought that his mother had merged with all of her spiritual source. He never expected that she still had a quarter of her spiritual source left. Chapter 24:10. His mother's cultivation had broken through to the limit. The remaining quarter of the spirit source, even if it was refined, wouldn't be of much use to his mother. It was almost impossible to rely on the remaining spirit source to break through to half-step star sky dominator. Longao's intuition told him. There was no such thing as half-step Star Sky Dominator between Peak Star Sky Immortal and Star Sky Dominator. All the secrets were in the secret realms. If he could step into the 9 secret realms, he believed he would know the secrets. However, the 9 secret realms were the treasures of the 9 half-step Star Sky Dominator. How could he casually step into them? Longao's face was very solemn. No matter what, the remaining quarter of the spirit source couldn't be lost in vain. If he could transfer it out of his mother's body, not to mention others, he believed he could smoothly break through to Star Sky Immortal from Star Sky Legend. However, although it was simple to think about, it was very difficult to actually do it. Mu Lin was very clear about what Aoer was thinking. Even Mu Lin couldn't do anything about the remaining spirit source in her body. Aoer, what should I do about the spirit source in my body? She was very helpless. Mother, try and see if you can trap the remaining spirit source in your body. In the future, if your spirit is still devoured by the spiritual chaos stone tablet, perhaps the remaining spirit source will come in handy. Even Longao wasn't completely sure about this. However, it was better to be safe than sorry. If his mother got devoured by the spirit chaos tablet, the consequences would be unimaginable. After all, it wouldn't be so smooth every time. If there was a slight mistake, his mother would be in big trouble. Since it was like this, Mu Lin couldn't do anything. Nodding, Mu Lin said, I have a way. She was very happy. Longao left the Primal Chaos Palace. He had successfully helped his mother wake up. There was no point in staying here. He came to the exit. Longao didn't immediately go out, because there was still spirit power outside. If he got devoured, the consequences would be unimaginable. Before, he relied on the Primal Chaos Seal. Now, he was going to rely on the Primal Chaos Seal. The Seal of Primal Chaos seemed to be the nemesis of mind power. Longao relied on the Seal of Primal Chaos to leave smoothly. It wasn't until they left the spiritual forbidden area that Longao finally let out a sigh of relief. This time, stepping into the forbidden spiritual grounds was really a narrow escape. In the end, he was lucky. Otherwise, he would probably be dead by now. No matter what, his mother was fine. This could be considered a blessing in disguise. Soaring Dragon Empire. News of Longao and Mu Lin's successful return and Mu Lin's safe disappearance spread throughout the empire, especially Long Yi. When he saw that his wife was fine, he was so happy that he started crying. The incident this time had really frightened Long Yi. Grandma, it's good that you're okay. Speaking of which, it was strange. Long Yun had only been here for less than half a year, yet not only was he able to speak, his intelligence was even not inferior to an adult. This caused many people to feel extremely curious. Grandma is fine, my good grandson. Since his mother was fine, Longao didn't stay in the empire for long. After leaving, he first went to the first Starry Sky Empire to see what was going on. Gongsun He and Gongsun Ao had been guarding outside the first Starry Sky Empire. No matter who it was, as long as they stepped out, they would kill them without mercy. They would kill one if they saw one, kill two if they saw two. Seeing this situation, Longao was very touched. Whether or not the two of them were sincere in helping him, with their status and strength, it was indeed not easy to do this. Brother Long, are you okay? He shook his head. Longao didn't hide anything and told them about his mother's critical condition. However, he didn't tell them the reason because he wouldn't tell anyone about the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, including Gongsun He and Gongsun Ao. So that's how it was. The two of them didn't have the slightest doubt because this kind of thing, Longao definitely wouldn't joke about it casually. It's good that your mother is fine. The situation here is still the same. Although the people of the first Starry Sky Empire didn't casually come out before this, Bai Jing had left the first plane once. Bai Jing had left? Longao wasn't the slightest bit surprised by this. He had guessed that Bai Jing would definitely leave this plane, and he also knew where she had gone. Long Xing, according to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, Bai Jing's destination this time should be the outer sea of the Sky Martial Continent. Perhaps others didn't know what the Martial Heaven Continent represented, but the 9 half-step Starry Sky Rulers were very clear. There was a Starry Sky Ruler overseeing the Martial Heaven Continent. It was one of the 12 Starry Sky Rulers, the God Diviner. Bai Jing will definitely return without accomplishing anything. Longao was very confident about this. He was almost certain that the God Diviner wouldn't help Bai Jing. If the God Diviner was willing to help, why would he help Bai Jing? He could have just dealt with himself and saved himself the trouble. Gongsun he was also surprised by Longao's confidence. He also knew that Longao definitely knew the God Diviner. There were already rumors that Longao had a starry sky ruler behind him, and that starry sky ruler seemed to be the God Diviner. However, he also knew that this rumor wasn't true. If it was true, why would Longao act like this? It was complete nonsense. However, there was no smoke without fire. It seemed that Longao and the God Diviner knew each other. Longao, I want to ask, what is your relationship with the God Diviner? If it was someone else, they definitely wouldn't ask such a question. However, Gongsun he wanted to know. After all, the God Diviner was the starry sky ruler. The 9 of them stood at the top of the starry sky. They could ignore anyone, but they couldn't erase the 12 starry sky rulers. Gongsun he was very clear that if the 12 starry sky rulers wanted to kill the 9 of them, they could do so in a matter of minutes. Longao smiled. Brother Gongsun, it seems you still don't know my origin. Origin? Gongsun he and Gongsun Ao naturally didn't know about Longao's origins, let alone the 2 of them, in the entire starry sky, other than the martial heaven continent's people and the God Diviner. No one knew about his origins. He was like a mystery. He had suddenly risen by stepping on empires. As for which empire he had come from, or which plane he had come from, no one knew. Chapter 24:11. I'm from the martial heaven continent. Hearing Longao's words, both Gongsun he and Gongsun Ao were shocked. They had never imagined that Longao was from the martial heaven continent. They naturally knew what the martial heaven continent represented. Even half-step sovereigns knew that the martial heaven continent was the God Diviner's territory. Could it be that Longao was related to the God Diviner? Before the 2 of them could ask, Longao continued, I'm from the martial heaven continent. I've met Senior God Diviner a few times, but I feel that Senior God Diviner won't help Bai Jing. Was that really the case? The 2 of them wouldn't easily believe Longao. However, the 2 of them didn't ask too much because the 2 of them were very clear that if Longao was willing to say, even if they didn't ask, they believed that Longao would say. If Longao didn't want to say more, even if they asked, they were afraid that it would be useless. The 2 of them shrugged helplessly. Brother Long, what do you think we should do now? They couldn't just keep defending like this. With the power and foundation of the number 1 starry sky empire, even if they sealed themselves for tens of thousands of years, they wouldn't suffer any losses. It would be futile. Longao naturally knew what they were thinking. He said, we can't just keep defending like this. Let's retreat first. Both sides began to withdraw their armies. After a short while, outside the first plane, all the Starry Sky Cultivator armies and the Starry Sky Corps slave armies had disappeared without a trace. Even Gongsun Ao had left, returning to the 3rd Starry Sky Empire. No matter what, an empire couldn't go a day without a ruler. Gongsun Ao was the emperor of the 3rd Starry Sky Empire, so all the matters of the empire were handled by him. Only Gongsun he and Longao remained outside the first plane. Brother Long, it seems Bai Jing is afraid of us. She won't come out and fight us head-on. Bai Jing was afraid of them? It was complete nonsense. Of course, Longao didn't believe it because he knew Bai Jing too well. As a half-step Starry Sky ruler, Bai Jing's strength was clear for all to see. Not to mention himself and Gongsun he, even if other half-step Starry Sky rulers came, Bai Jing wouldn't have the slightest fear. This was Bai Jing's strength. As for the reason, Longao was almost certain that Bai Jing did not come out not because she was afraid of the 2 of them, but because she did not want to be entangled with the 2 of them. According to Bai Jing's strength, to Bai Jing, the most important thing was the Primal Chaos Tablet. If it could smoothly swallow the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, Bai Jing was willing to give up anything. The Primal Chaos Stone Tablet was the most important thing. However, Longao didn't say much because he was only guessing what Bai Jing meant. As for whether his guess was right or not, who knew? Brother Gongsun, what should we do now? Gongsun he thought for a moment and said, Brother Long, I have a presumptuous request. I don't know if I should say it or not. Brother Gongsun, please speak. Gongsun he hesitated, but in the end he said, Brother Long, I trust that you know Bai Jing's strength better than I do. Unless the 12 sovereigns of the starry skies personally descend, no one in the entire universe will be able to defeat Bai Jing. Longao didn't say anything. He just listened quietly. If we are able to obtain the primal chaos tablets and refine them to become sovereigns of the starry skies, then a single Bai Jing won't be enough. Upon hearing Gong Sunhee's words, Longao wasn't surprised in the slightest, because he had already guessed what Gong Sunhee meant. In the end, Gong Sunhee still wanted to obtain the primal chaos tablets. As for whether or not Gong Sunhee would help him, that wasn't what Gong Sunhee wanted to do. Would Longao agree? Longao knew very well that if he agreed, even if he searched the entire universe, he wouldn't be able to find a single one of the 12 primal chaos tablets. This was because all 12 of the primal chaos tablets of the plane of primal chaos were in his hands. It would be a waste of time, but if he didn't agree, it would be a bit unkind of him. He thought for a moment. Longao's mind suddenly flashed with inspiration. He laughed and said, Brother Gongsun, you are absolutely right. With our current strength, we aren't Bai Jing's match at all. Even if we want to fight to the death, we don't have the qualifications to do so. Upon hearing Longao words, Gong Sunhee's heart leapt with joy. Of course he knew what Longao meant. But Gong Sunhee was an old fox, and he forcibly suppressed the joy in his heart. Gong Sunhee and Bai Jing both wanted the same thing. They both wanted to obtain the primal chaos tablets. As for what Gong Sunhee was thinking, Longao knew in his heart. Brother Gongsun, I can help you find the primal chaos tablets. If we find the primal chaos tablets, you will obtain one, and I will obtain one. Of course. Moreover, I can guarantee that no matter what happens, the first primal chaos stone tablet you obtain will belong to you. As for me obtaining the second primal chaos stone tablet, as for the third primal chaos stone tablet, I shouldn't want it. Gongsun, he was a very smart person. No matter how many primal chaos tablets he found, it wouldn't be of much use. As long as he could obtain one primal chaos tablet, it would be enough. Brother Gongsun, let's be frank. Although I can obtain the primal chaos tablets, I don't have the slightest confidence in being able to lock onto their position. To be honest, if I could lock onto their position, I wouldn't have waited until now. Gong Sunhee, who had just been overjoyed, felt as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over him. This was because he suddenly understood a problem. Chapter 24:12. As a half-step starry sky ruler, if Longao still didn't agree to Gong Sunhee's request, it would be a bit unreasonable. I'll do my best. Gong Sunhee was overjoyed. The two began to lock onto the positions of the primal chaos tablets. But would it work? All 12 primal chaos tablets had been obtained by Longao. Even if they locked onto them for countless years, they wouldn't be able to do anything. Longao was just putting on an act. Longao was also very clear in his heart that the so-called Gongsun, he was also not sincerely helping him. If he didn't have the primal chaos tablets, it would be a joke for Gongsun he to help him. However, Longao didn't point this out. With the third Starry Sky Empire and Longao withdrawing, everyone in the first plane breathed a sigh of relief. The Sky Marshal plane. Longao was summoned by the Master God Diviner. He was very curious. Could the Master God Diviner have summoned him because of the primal chaos rock? With his current strength, Longao really didn't want to provoke the Master God Diviner. Outer Sea, inside the Crystal Palace. You're here. Sit. Without the slightest courtesy, Longao sat down and said with a smile, I don't know what Senior has summoned me for this time. No matter what it is, Senior can tell me. The Master God Diviner smiled and said, Longao, I've come to find you mainly because of Bai Jing and the other 9 people. I'm sure you've already guessed that Bai Jing came looking for me to help her lock onto your family's position. The Master God Diviner didn't continue speaking, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Longao naturally already knew this, and he knew that the Master God Diviner definitely hadn't agreed. Otherwise, the Master God Diviner wouldn't have summoned him, and his family would definitely have been locked onto. Many thanks, Senior. For this, Longao really had to thank the Master God Diviner. This was because with the Master God Diviner's valiant strength, and especially his unparalleled calculation ability, it would be a simple matter for him to lock onto an empire's position. However, he was almost certain that Master Clairvoyant would not do such a thing. Longao, you've already met Bai Jing and Gong Sun He. Do you know what the 9 half-step dominators of the 9 great starry sky empires are like? What did that mean? Longao had no idea what Master God Diviner was trying to say. Because of that, Longao didn't say anything. He knew that Master God Diviner would continue to speak. The 9 of them are indeed very talented. Strictly speaking, their talent is not much different from ours. If we hadn't obtained the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet and become the ruler of the universe, we wouldn't have been their match. Longao didn't say anything because he didn't know how to respond. The secret realm that the 9 of them obtained is really strange. I entered it before, but I couldn't find any secrets. Senior God Diviner, are you here because of the 9 arcane realms? Longao wasn't a fool. He had already guessed what the divine mathematician meant. The 9 arcane realms were the treasures of the 9 half-step rulers. That's right. My intuition tells me that their 9 arcane realms must be related to the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. If we can find the secret of the 9 arcane realms, it might help me obtain the Primal Chaos energy in the tablet. I see. However, Longao still couldn't figure it out. Senior God Diviner, forgive me for being blunt. Given your strength, it shouldn't be a problem for you to take the 9 arcane realms from the 9 of them. Longao couldn't figure it out because Master God Diviner was a true ruler of the universe. As for Bai Jing and the other 8, they were only half-step rulers. It would be too easy for Master God Diviner to take the 9 arcane realms from the 9 of them. If that was the case, why didn't Master God Diviner do it? Why did he have to go through the trouble of borrowing his strength? Master God Diviner shook his head and said, the 9 of them have completely refined the arcane realms. If I take them by force, the arcane realms will disappear with them. I see. Longao finally understood why. However, if even Master God Diviner couldn't find the secret of the arcane realms, how could he? It was simply nonsense. Senior, you think too highly of me. Master God Diviner smiled and said, Longao, I'm not asking you to enter the arcane realms to find the secret. I just want to work with you. If I can find the secret of the Primal Chaos Steels in the future, I can guarantee that you will devour a Primal Chaos Steel and become a ruler of the universe. Senior God Diviner, what should I do? Longao wasn't the least bit surprised. If it were anyone else, they would have been excited to the extreme. Only Longao wasn't the least bit excited because he knew that there was no such thing as a free lunch in the world. Master God Diviner wouldn't come looking for him for no reason. I'll talk to you about this later. Right now, you only need to do one thing, and that is to constantly improve your strength. Although I can help you, it won't do you any good. When your cultivation reaches the peak of the starry sky immortal realm, we'll talk about this. Since Master God Diviner didn't want to say more, Longao didn't continue to ask, Senior, is there anything else? If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. There were so many things to do that he couldn't stay here forever. As Master God Diviner said, no matter what happened, his top priority now was to find a way to improve his strength as quickly as possible. If he could break through the peak of the starry sky immortal realm, then as long as he didn't encounter the 12 rulers of the universe and the 9 half-step rulers of the universe, he would be able to do whatever he wanted in the vast universe. Master God Diviner nodded and said, I'm fine for now. If you have any trouble, you can come find me. I can help you. Many thanks. Longao certainly wouldn't trouble Master God Diviner casually, because there's always a cause and effect. If he borrowed Master God Diviner's power this time, he would definitely return the favor in the future. Especially when facing Master God Diviner, it would be even more troublesome. After watching Longao leave, Yi Gudu's figure appeared. Yi Gudu's face was very gloomy as he said, Father, the 9 great secret realms must be related to our primal chaos tablets. Can Longao really help us find the secrets of the 9 great secret realms? Yigudu certainly didn't believe it. Although his father valued Longao very much, he didn't put Longao in his eyes from the beginning to the end. If it weren't for his father's deterrence, he would have already killed Longao. Again, he couldn't stand Longao's domineering attitude. However, Master God Diviner said, "I'm not completely sure, but Longao is a variable. I can only bet on him." As long as the Primal Chaos Palace was in his hands, he believed that even the divine mathematician would not be able to step into the Primal Chaos Palace to lock onto his location. However, the most helpless thing right now was that he was still unable to truly control the Chaos Palace. It was very passive. It was very passive. In fact, if Master God Diviner made a move against his empire, he would be in an even more passive position, and the consequences would be too horrible to contemplate. There were always accidents. Right now, Master God Diviner seemed to be on good terms with him. But who knew when he would turn on him? And that was something Longao didn't want to see happen. Strength. In the end, it was because he was not strong enough. In this vast universe, where people ate people, as long as one's fist was strong enough, one would have the upper hand. Otherwise, even if one died, no one would care. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. The more he thought about it, the more afraid he felt. Longao's bottom line was the Empire. If something happened to the Empire, he didn't even dare to think about it. Longao knew very well that the only thing he could do right now was to increase his strength as quickly as possible. Perhaps someone in the Empire could truly refine the Primal Chaos Tablet and become the ruler of the universe. In that case, before he could control the Primal Chaos power within the tablet, Master God Diviner would not be able to do anything to him or the Empire. Gongsun He and Longao temporarily separated. After all, they couldn't always be together for the sake of finding the Primal Chaos Tablet. It was a bit unrealistic. Gongsun He didn't force Longao, because he knew that if Longao could obtain the Primal Chaos Tablet in a short period of time, he would have done so long ago. Why wait until now? He was simply asking for trouble. The news that the number 1 empire had been forced to seal its plane by 2 forces had long since spread throughout the universe. You could say that. Now, the number 1 empire had lost all face, becoming a joke in everyone's mouth. But even so, the number 1 empire kept its mouth shut, as if this matter had nothing to do with them. It really lived up to the saying that a shameless tree would die without a doubt. A shameless person was invincible. Since when did the number 1 empire become so shameless? In the beginning, everyone thought that with Bai Jing's sudden arrival, the strength and status of the number 1 Starry Sky Empire would definitely rise to a higher level. However, the result made everyone's jaws drop. No one would have thought that the number 1 Starry Sky Empire would not even have the courage to fight with Bai Jing. It seemed that the number 1 empire was truly afraid. The number 1 empire in the vast universe, and also the most powerful empire, had fallen to such a state. It was sad, a great sadness. As the number 1 empire, the number 3 empire, and Longao's battle began, the other empires, including the number 2 empire, watched from the sidelines, waiting to reap the benefits. It was just that the number 1 empire, the number 3 empire, and Longao's battle had not yet begun, which made the other empires very depressed. The 7 major star empires certainly wanted to watch the show, but the other star empires, especially the small star empires, were helpless to the extreme. Because every time there was a war between star empires, it would shake the entire vast starry sky. At that time, who knows how many star empires would be destroyed. However, if an empire was destroyed, then another empire would rise. It could be said that some were happy and some were worried. No one knew what would happen next. As for whether the number 1 empire, the number 3 empire, and Longao would start a war, no one knew. In the vast starry sky, the winds and clouds changed. Longao returned to the soaring dragon empire smoothly. As soon as he returned, Longing couldn't wait to say, "Seventh brother, things are going to be troublesome. I heard that the number 1 empire and the number 2 empire have joined forces with other empires to deal with us. If the number 3 empire is afraid and forces us to leave, then we will be in big trouble." Chapter 24:14. Longao was not surprised at all. After Bai Jing failed to find the divine mathematician, she certainly would not give up. Just relying on the strength of the number one Starry Sky Empire. Once they started a war, the final result would be a lose-lose situation. The other Starry Sky Empires would then reap the benefits. Would Bai Jing do such a thing? Not to mention Bai Jing. No one would want to see such a situation. With Bai Jing's strength and deterrence, the other Starry Sky Empires would certainly not dare to refuse. If the ancestors of the other Starry Sky Empires all appeared, Bai Jing's deterrence would not work. It was a very troublesome matter. If the 8 Starry Sky Empires joined forces, the 3rd Starry Sky Empire would certainly be wary. The current situation was completely different from before. If the location of the empire was discovered, the consequences would be unimaginable. Longao's face was very dignified. The current situation was indeed very troublesome for him. 7th brother, you don't have to worry about the empire for the time being. How could Longao not know what his big brother meant? The empire was now very secretive. As long as there were no accidents, the 8 Starry Sky Empires would hardly be able to find his location. Big brother, from now on, no one is allowed to take a step out of the empire. Anyone who violates the order will be killed without mercy. Long Ying was very clear about the seriousness of the matter. Nodding, he said, I know what to do. 7th brother, you have to be extra careful. I understand. Longao did not immediately leave the empire, because the current situation was indeed very special. Without the help of the divine mathematician, Bai Jing would certainly not give up. This time, Bai Jing joined forces with the other Starry Sky Empires. It was a completely different concept from before. No matter what, Bai Jing was still a half-step Starry Sky ruler. He had to think of a way as soon as possible. Otherwise, the longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. It was very depressing. In the courtyard, the current situation was to cultivate in seclusion, hoping to break through the Starry Sky Legend and Starry Sky Immortal Realm as soon as possible. Longao did not leave the empire. Instead, he chose to cultivate in seclusion. Winter went and spring came. In the blink of an eye, 18 years passed quietly. Now Long Yun had become a young man. He looked much more ferocious than Longao. It was very strange. When Long Yun was born, his cultivation base had already reached Starry Sky Legend. According to normal circumstances, after 18 years of cultivation, Long Yun should have a breakthrough. Even if he could not reach the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, he should be able to reach the peak of Starry Sky Legend Realm. But what was the result? For an entire 18 years, Long Yun's cultivation did not improve in the slightest. As for what the situation was, even Long Ao didn't know. However, Long Ao was not worried in the slightest. His son was able to break through the Starry Sky Legend Realm at birth. It was easy to imagine how talented his son was. In the entire courtyard, only Long Ao and Long Yun remained. In these 18 years, other than cultivating every day, Long Ao spent the rest of his time guiding Long Yun in his cultivation and cultivating various heaven-defying martial skills. Not only that, Long Ao even wanted to pass the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos formula to his son because among all the heaven-defying martial arts and techniques, the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos formula was the most powerful. But what was the result? Whether it was Long Yun or the others, they were all unable to cultivate the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos formula at all. This was also something that Long Ao could not figure out. As for the Primal Chaos Axe and Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, Long Yun was unable to inherit them. Father, we have been in seclusion for 18 years. The vast starry sky outside is completely chaotic. If we don't take action, before Long Yun could finish speaking, Long Ao directly stopped him and said, Yuner, don't meddle in this matter. Originally, he thought that relying on his talent, he could smoothly break through from the Starry Sky Legend Realm to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm within 18 years. However, he never expected that after decades of continuous cultivation, he actually did not have the slightest breakthrough. From the Starry Sky Legend Realm to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, he was only one step away. Only this one step was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. No matter how he cultivated in seclusion, he was still unable to take this one step. Seeing that his father did not want to say more, Long Yun shrugged helplessly. Father, I want to go out and gain experience. If it were other fathers, they might not let their children go out and gain experience, especially in this vast starry sky where people eat people. If they went out to gain experience, there was a 95% chance that they would die. But if it was Longao, he did not think so. If he did not go out to gain experience, he would never grow up. Back then, he also relied on life and death experiences step by step to reach where he was today. Otherwise, he would not have everything he had today. Yun, I won't stop you, but you must remember one thing. As a man, there are things he can do and things he can't do. He would rather die standing than live kneeling. A man would rather die standing than live kneeling. Of course, Long Yun knew what happened to his father back then. From a family that thought he was trash, he walked step by step to where he was now. His father had experienced too much. It was precisely because of this that he wanted to go out and gain experience. Father, I will remember. Long Yun knelt down, respectfully kowtowed 3 times, then got up and left quickly. Dusk. Aoshue walked in. She seemed to be very anxious, but more than that, she was worried. She said, Yun'er left to gain experience. As a father, you don't know how to take care of him. If something happens to Yun'er, what should we do? Longao smiled and said casually, Aoshue, it's not a bad thing for Yun'er to go out and gain experience. Otherwise, Yun'er will never grow up. Even so, Yun'er is still young. He's not even 18 years old this year. Even if his cultivation has successfully broken through to the Starry Sky Legend realm, the vast Starry Sky is still full of dangers. Especially if Yun'er meets people from the 8 great Starry Sky empires. It's even more dangerous. I'm scared. Thinking that the 8 great Starry Sky empires would fight if they met her son, Aoshue was extremely worried. She immediately said, No, I have to go find him. I can't let anything happen to my son. Before Longao could speak, Mu Lin came in from outside and said anxiously, My precious grandson went out. Ao'er, why don't you hurry and find him? If anything happens to Yun'er, I will not forgive you. Without giving Longao any chance to speak, Mu Lin said, Aoshue, follow me now. With my current strength, I believe that there are not many people in the vast starry sky who can hurt us. Nothing can happen to my precious son. Hurry and go. Aoshue and Mu Lin hit it off. One was afraid that something would happen to her son, and the other was afraid that something would happen to her grandson. Longao had a headache. He said helplessly, Mother, Aoshue, sit down and listen to me first. Humph, Ao'er. If we wait for you to sit down and talk, something might happen to my precious son. Chapter 24:15. Longao was depressed to the extreme. Whether it was Aoshue or his mother, they both doted on their child too much. Very helpless. Longao sighed deeply and said helplessly, Mother, Aoshue, what Yun'er needs is strength. Otherwise, he will never be able to grow. In these 18 years, Yun'er's cultivation has not improved at all. Can't you see the clues? Gradually, Aoshue and Mu Lin calmed down. The two of them knew very well that Longao was right. However, Yun'er was still their treasure. Nothing must happen to him. However, since things had already come to this, the two of them had no other choice. Mother, Aoshue, I have already sent the ancient Sky Corps slave to follow Yun'er. If anything happens, I believe that with the Starry Sky Corps slave overseeing it, Yun'er shouldn't have any problems. Starry Sky Corps slave? Hearing that the Starry Sky Corps slave had left with Yun'er, both Mu Lin and Aoshue heaved a sigh of relief. In the end, the two of them still chose to leave and not leave the Soaring Dragon Empire. The vast starry sky was boundless. Even if they went out to search for Yun'er's traces, wanting to find a trace of a person in the vast sea of people was simply like looking for a needle in a haystack. It was almost impossible. In fact, Longao was also very worried. Otherwise, he would not have let the ancient Sky Corps slave follow Long Yun. A full 18 years. The vast starry sky was already very chaotic. Especially the 8 great starry sky empires, they did not choose to give up at all. For so many years, they had been searching for Longao's traces. Not to mention the other Starry Sky empires. Even the third Starry Sky Empire was also looking for Longao's traces everywhere. Longao seemed to have disappeared from the face of the earth. The third Starry Sky Empire. Gongsun Ao said gloomily, "Old ancestor, we have already searched for a full 18 years, but we still haven't found any traces of Longao. Did he go to find the primal chaos tablet himself and set us up?" Gongsun he nodded. As for Longao, he did not expect such a thing to happen. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't angry. Before this, he had helped Longao so much and even completely shed all pretense of cordiality with Bai Jing. But in the end, not only did Longao not help him lock onto the chaos tablet, but he had also completely disappeared. Only a fool would believe that there was nothing fishy going on. It was a very helpless matter. Right now, no one could find any trace of Longao. If this continued, who knew what would happen? Increase our efforts to find Longao's traces. I don't believe that Longao will really disappear from the world. Gongsun he helplessly asked, "Elder, if Longao is really looking for the chaos tablet himself, what should we do?" This was the most important thing. Gongsun Ao was very clear about the current situation. Nothing was important to the old ancestor. The most important thing was that no matter what, he had to find the Chaos Stone tablet. He originally thought that Longao would help the old ancestor find the primal Chaos Stone tablet, but he never thought that things would reach this step. It was a very painful matter. Gongsun he thought for a moment before coldly replying, "Before this, I had truly treated Longao as a friend. As long as he could help me obtain the Chaos tablet, I would do everything in my power to help him obtain the Chaos tablet. Furthermore, I would not hesitate to shed all pretense of cordiality with Bai Jing." The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. The more he thought about it, the colder he became. He wanted nothing more than to tear Longao into pieces. If Longao doesn't want to treat me as a friend, then don't blame me for not showing mercy. Just as Gongsun he finished speaking, a figure suddenly appeared. It was none other than Longao. Seeing Longao, whether it was Gongsun he or Gongsun Ao, they were incomparably shocked. Longao, who had disappeared for 18 years, suddenly appeared now. What was going on? "Brother Long, where did you go?" Although he was furious, Gongsun he still held it in. This was because he still treated Longao as a friend. He hoped that Longao could help him find the primal Chaos Stone tablet. As for what Gongsun he was thinking, how could Longao not know? He smiled. Longao didn't hide anything and said, "Brother Gongsun, I've been staying in the Empire to cultivate. To be honest, I've only just broken through to Star Sky Legend. I wanted to use this time to break through to Star Sky Immortal, but..." Longao didn't continue speaking here, but the meaning in his words was very clear. Longao was very helpless about his own cultivation. He had always been very confident in his talent, but this time, he didn't know what was going on. After 18 years, he still hadn't broken through. Star Sky Legend? Gongsun he and Gongsun Ao could clearly sense that Longao was still a Star Sky Legend. He was no different from the Longao of 18 years ago. If a Star Sky cultivator went into seclusion, not to mention 8 or 10 years, even hundreds or thousands of years would be a matter of minutes. Without a trace of doubt, Gongsun he's anger disappeared without a trace. Although Longao wanted to help him find the primal Chaos Stone tablet, he couldn't stop him from cultivating in seclusion. In this vast universe, power was everything. If you had power, you could do whatever you wanted. If you didn't have power, then sorry, you couldn't move an inch. "Brother Long, I see. This isn't your fault. I'll help you break through later." Longao didn't think so. He couldn't break through the current realm even if he cultivated in seclusion. It was impossible for Gongsun he to help him break through to the Starry Sky Immortal realm. Not to mention Gongsun he, even the divine mathematician might not be able to do it. "Brother Gongsun, for the rest of the time, I'll do my best to help you find the primal Chaos Stone tablet. However, I can't guarantee that we'll be able to find the primal Chaos Stone tablet." Gongsun he's heart was filled with joy. This was what he wanted to see the most, but he was too embarrassed to say it. Longao hadn't broken through to Star Sky Immortal yet, but he still came to help him find the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Gong's son, he was very grateful. He smiled and said, "Brother Long, I'm a very realistic person. You treat me well, and I'll treat you well. You and I are friends, and I won't hide it from you. Now that the 8-star sky empires have joined forces to deal with you, no matter what happens, I won't stand by your side." Gong's son, he expressed his stance first. Longao smiled. Since he chose to leave the empire, he wasn't afraid of the 8-star sky empires. He wasn't afraid in the past, he wasn't afraid now, and he wouldn't be afraid in the future. Even if the number 1-star sky empire's old ancestor Bai Jing came, he wouldn't be afraid. This was Longao. Otherwise, he wouldn't be Longao. Chapter 24:16. Gong's son, he knew a thing or two about Longao's character. "Brother Long, what should we do now?" Gong's son, he was very clear about the current situation. It was all because of Bai Jing's deterrence. Otherwise, the other cosmic empires might not have chosen to join forces against Longao. Nothing must happen to Longao. For the primal chaos steel, not to mention falling out with Bai Jing, even if he had to fight Bai Jing to the death, he would not hesitate. Whether Gong's son, he was sincerely helping him or not, the current situation was very unfavorable for him. No matter what, if he had the help of Gong's son, he and the Third Cosmic Empire, the situation would be a little better. However, the 8 cosmic empires joining forces was indeed a troublesome matter. Brother Gong's son, if you can deter the other 7 cosmic empires. I believe that with you, the other 7 cosmic empires might not join forces with the first cosmic empire. Even the first cosmic empire could not do anything. If it was him, he would not be able to do it. What he could not do did not mean that Gong's son, he could not do it. Gong's son, his strength was there. Even if he was not as strong as Bai Jing, he was not far off. What did this mean? As long as Gong's son, he gave the order, the other cosmic empires would not dare to join forces with the first cosmic empire due to Gong's son, his strength. How could Gong's son, he not know Longao's intention? If it was someone else, Gong's son, he would not agree. Only Longao. Because of the primal chaos steel, Gong's son, he did not hesitate at all. He said, "Brother Long, no problem. I will do it immediately." Gong's son, he was also very fast. He did as he said. A short while later, the entire vast starry sky was spreading the news. The ancestor of the Third Cosmic Empire, Gong's son, he had informed the other 7 cosmic empires that if anyone dared to join forces with the first cosmic empire, the Third Cosmic Empire would flatten that empire. If Gong's son, he and Bai Jing did not come, the 9 cosmic empires' strength would be about the same. It would not be easy to destroy each other. However, the situation now was completely different. Whether it was Bai Jing or Gong's son, he, their strength was there for all to see. Under their deterrence, no one dared to go against Bai Jing and Gong's son, he. There was only one outcome for anyone who dared to go against them, and that was to be destroyed by the two without any chance of survival. This was the power of a half-step Starry Sky ruler. The first Starry Sky Empire also received the news. Bai Jing, in particular, was shocked. Gong's son, his actions showed that he really wanted to shed all pretenses of cordiality with her. In the main hall, Bai Jing's face was extremely gloomy. It was as ugly as it could get. Bai Hua wanted to speak a few times, but in the end, he held himself back. At this moment, it was clear that the old master was infuriated to the extreme. Offending the old master at this moment was akin to asking for trouble. The 3 Starry Sky Eagles and Bai Hua looked at each other and saw the helplessness in each other's eyes. The 4 of them didn't expect Gong's son, he to make such a move. Was it worth it for Gong's son, he to do this for a Longao? If it were them, they would definitely not do so. After an unknown period of time, Bai Jing said coldly, "Gong's son, he doesn't know what's good for him. I can't let him live." Bai Jing was helpless to the extreme as well. If it were anyone else, he could have killed them in a matter of minutes. But Gong's son, he was the only one whose strength was similar to his. It was almost impossible for him to kill Gong's son, he. If Gong's son, his third secret state could be destroyed, then even if Gong's son, he was still a half-step Starry Sky ruler, he wouldn't be able to fight against him. The four of them still did not dare to speak. A battle of the old master's level was not something they could interfere with. Neither did they dare to offend Gongsun-He. If Gongsun-He wanted to kill them, it would be a piece of cake. What did the four of you think? What did the four of them think? The three starry sky eagles were helpless. Under such circumstances, it wasn't appropriate for them to speak. However, Bai Hua's situation was different. Bai Hua knew what the three starry sky eagles were thinking. No matter how unwilling he was in his heart, he still braced himself and said, "Old master, according to my guess, Gongsun-He has been keeping a low profile for so many years. But all of a sudden, he spread the news that he's going to help Longao. There must be something fishy going on." Fishy? Continue. Bai Jing's mind seemed to be in a mess. He didn't seem like Bai Jing at all. The onlooker sees more clearly than the person involved. "Old master, if I'm not mistaken, Longao should have already appeared in the Third Starry Sky Empire." Continue. Continue? Bai Hua was helpless. He didn't know what was going on with the old master, but he still said, "Old master, we all know that Gongsun-He is going to help Longao not out of kindness, but because of the Chaos Tablet. For 18 years, Longao seemed to have disappeared from the face of the earth. Gongsun-He has remained neutral." Bai Hua didn't continue after saying this, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Bai Jing was only temporarily confused. After a short period of calming down, Bai Jing had a rough idea of what was going on. He didn't have the slightest doubt. He felt that Bai Hua's guess was correct. If Longao hadn't suddenly appeared, Gongsun-He wouldn't have done this even if he was beaten to death. He had dealt with Gongsun-He for so many years, and he knew Gongsun-He too well. If it weren't for the Chaos Tablet, Gongsun-He definitely wouldn't have helped Longao. If that was the case, it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. After all, they had been looking for Longao for 18 years without success. Now, Longao had finally been found. Bai Jing had the same intention as Gongsun-He. He didn't care about Longao's life or death. He only cared about one thing, and that was the Chaos Tablet. If he wanted to break through the half-star Sky Dominator level and become a Star Dominator level, he couldn't rely on a mystic realm alone. There was only one way, and that was to find the Chaos Tablet and refine it. However, it was almost impossible to find the Chaos Tablet on his own. Only Longao could. Otherwise, Gongsun-He wouldn't have helped Longao so much. It was obvious what was going on. "Bai Hua, what do you think the old master should do?" "Old master, Longao must be in the Third Cosmic Kingdom. We don't need to fight with the Third Cosmic Kingdom. We only need to do one thing, and that is to do everything we can to find Longao and deal with Longao. As long as the old master can find the Chaos Tablet, both Longao and Gongsun-He won't be a threat." Chapter 24:17. Lock on to Longao? It was easy to think about but difficult to do. If it was easy to lock on to Longao, they wouldn't have to wait so many years. Countless people wanted to deal with Longao, but no one was able to kill Longao. This was enough to explain the problem. Bai Jing knew the situation was impatient, but the longer it dragged on, the worse it would be for him. He had to end the battle quickly. He had to lock on to Longao as soon as possible. If Longao helped Gongsun-He get the Primal Chaos Tablet, everything would be too late. "Bai Hua, what should we do now?" Bai Hua shrugged helplessly. "Old ancestor, I don't know what to do now." Bai Hua thought that if the old ancestor used the secret realm, he would definitely be able to deal with Longao. But the result? Bai Hua never thought that someone would come out of nowhere and stop the old ancestor from dealing with Longao. If it was someone else, the old ancestor wouldn't have any fear. Only the other 8 half-step star sky rulers. Gongsun-He also had his own secrets. If Gongsun-He insisted on helping Longao, things would be very troublesome. Although the first secret realm was slightly stronger than the third secret realm, it was almost impossible for the first secret realm to suppress the third secret realm. This was the reason why the old ancestor was the most oppressed. If it wasn't for this, the old ancestor would have already made a move. How could Bai Jing not know what Bai Hua meant? This was also the reason why he was the most oppressed. If he wanted to deal with Longao, he had to deal with Gongsun-He first. However, Gongsun He was a half-step star sky ruler with a secret realm. It was almost impossible for him to deal with Gongsun He. It was precisely because Longao had Gongsun He's help that he was fearless. What should he do? He couldn't think of a solution no matter how much he thought about it. As a half-step star sky ruler with the help of a secret realm, he had no way to deal with a small star sky legend. If this matter spread, it would be embarrassing. Bai Hua and Bai Jing's guesses were not entirely correct. At the very least, Longao was no longer in the so-called Third Starry Sky Empire. Longao had already promised Gongsun He that he would help him find the Primal Chaos Tablet. However, he didn't say when he would start. After all, there were still many things to be done, especially in the First Starry Sky Empire. If you don't go to him, he will definitely come to you. As long as they did not deal with White Crystal and the #1 Starry Sky Empire, it would always be a big problem. It was a very helpless matter. Longao didn't know what to do either. If he were to rely on his own strength alone, he and the entire Soaring Dragon Empire would not be a match for Bai Jing and the #1 Starry Sky Empire. There was no doubt about it. Longao was well aware of his own strength. He was also extremely depressed about his own talent and strength. He originally thought that, according to his talent, he should have been able to smoothly break through to the Starry Sky Immortal realm from the Starry Sky Legend realm in 18 years. However, he did not expect that after 18 years, there was still no breakthrough. A low-level plane. There was a huge, solitary mountain peak. At the peak of the mountain, Longao sat quietly at the peak of the mountain, facing the wind. His mind was thinking of all sorts of ways to deal with the #1 Starry Sky Empire and Bai Jing. However, no matter how he thought about it, he still couldn't come up with any ideas. No matter what, the #1 Starry Sky Empire and Bai Jing were too strong to the point of being abnormal. In the vast Starry Sky, other than the 12 rulers of Starry Sky, Bai Jing was the true #1. Even if Gongsun He were to compare with Bai Jing, in terms of strength, Gongsun He wouldn't be a match for Bai Jing. This was Bai Jing's true strength. At this moment, a figure flashed quickly. Longao wasn't surprised at all because the person who came was none other than Long Ming, the so-called ruler of Starry Sky. Longao, why are you looking for me? Long Ming had been in closed-door cultivation. If not for Longao looking for him, he wouldn't have cared about anyone. Because in the current situation, there was nothing more important than refining the Primal Chaos Tablet. Longao and Long Ming's relationship was always there. As long as Long Ming didn't really refine the Primal Chaos Tablet, the two could send each other messages and inform each other. Long Ming was very curious. He didn't know why Longao suddenly looked for him. It was very depressing because he knew Longao's character too well. No matter what happened, based on their current situation, he believed that Longao wouldn't come looking for him. So what was it? Long Ming was very curious. Long Ming, I want to make a deal with you. I don't know if you're willing. A deal? Long Ming was very vigilant. Others might not know Longao, but he was no stranger to Longao. If Longao didn't have some ability, he wouldn't have grown to this point. Tell me about it. Long Ming did not agree, nor did he refuse, because he still did not know what the so-called deal Longao was talking about was. If it was beneficial to him, then there was no problem at all. If it was not beneficial to him, then sorry, he would not agree even if he was beaten to death. How could Longao not know what Long Ming was thinking in his heart? Now Longao really hoped that Long Ming wasn't the so-called ruler of time and space. He had lost a good brother for nothing. But things had already come to this, and it wasn't something he could change. Longao cursed himself in his heart, then quickly calmed down and said, "If you help me destroy the First Starry Sky Empire and White Crystal, then I'll help you control the Primal Chaos Tablet." Long Ming was shocked because destroying White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire would be a matter of minutes for him in the future. As long as he could refine the Primal Chaos Tablet and become the ruler of the Starry Sky, it would happen sooner or later. What truly shocked Long Ming was that Longao could help him control the Primal Chaos energy in the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Of course, he knew what the Primal Chaos energy in the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet meant. If he could truly control the Primal Chaos Tablet, then no matter who it was, no one would be a match for him. Then, In the entire starry sky, he would be the true number one. It would be a lie to say that he didn't want to control the primal chaos tablet. But Long Ming didn't believe Longao. There were 12 rulers of the starry sky, and none of them could control the primal chaos tablet. Even the oracle couldn't do it. Longao still hadn't devoured the primal chaos tablet. If he said that he could help him control the primal chaos tablet, no one would believe it. It was complete nonsense. Chapter 24:18. How can I believe you? Long Ming was on high alert. If Long Ming believed Longao so easily, he wouldn't be Long Ming. Longao knew what Long Ming was thinking, of course. Long Ming, I'm sure you know what kind of person I am. I never boast. You just need to tell me if you agree or not. I don't want to say or listen to anything else. Long Ming knew Longao's personality all too well. Longao wouldn't speak casually if he wasn't confident. If it were anything else, Long Ming would have chosen to believe him. But when it came to the chaos steel, Long Ming would never believe him. That was too ridiculous. Someone who couldn't even refine a chaos steel was boasting shamelessly here. If he chose to believe him, he'd be a fool. He refused without hesitation. Longao, first of all, I don't believe you. Second, I can't kill Bai Jing with my current strength. This was the truth. If Long Ming could successfully refine the chaos steel and become a ruler of the stars, killing Bai Jing and destroying the number one cosmic empire would be a matter of minutes. But now, the situation was completely different. Long Ming had yet to successfully refine the primal chaos tablet and become a starry sky ruler. It was almost impossible for him to do so with his current strength. Long Ming was well aware of this fact. Long Ming seemed to want to say something else, but Longao vanished. He really didn't give Long Ming any chance to speak. Long Ming was completely dumbfounded. Just now, he just wanted to test Longao, to see if Longao could help him control the primal chaos power of the primal chaos stone tablet. But the result? He'd gone too far this time. Before he could finish his test, Longao had vanished without a trace. Long Ming was a little helpless, but more than that, he was furious. He'd long forgotten Longao's kindness. If not for Longao's help, he'd be dead already. How would he have had the chance to refine the chaos steel? Longao, come out. We can have a good chat. Just as Long Ming finished speaking, Longao's figure appeared once again. With the primal chaos temple present, Longao could ignore anyone. Not to mention Long Ming, even Master God Diviner could be ignored. This was the strength of the primal chaos palace. He was very disgusted. Longao said impatiently, Long Ming, it's best if you don't play games with me. I can tell you clearly that these are of no use to me. If you don't want to, I'm sure the other rulers will. Long Ming's face was very gloomy. It was as ugly as it could get. If it was in the past, this would be the case. But now, he was the ruler of time and space. Even if he hadn't truly refined the chaos tablet, his status was still there. No one would dare to do such a thing to him, except for Longao. However, Long Ming could not do anything about it. This was because Longao had too many secrets. Even he did not know much about them back then, especially the Starry Sky Divine artifact that Longao possessed, no matter how angry he was. In the end, Long Ming suppressed his anger and said, Longao, I can promise you that as long as you help me obtain the chaos power in the chaos tablet, I will help you deal with White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire. Long Ming did not care about the life and death of White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire. What he wanted was the chaos power in the chaos tablet. He knew very well what it meant to be able to control the chaos power in the chaos tablet. Long Ming, it's decided. As long as you can help me destroy White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire, I will immediately help you obtain the chaos power in the chaos tablet. Before Long Ming could speak, Longao continued. Long Ming, I will wait for your good news. Just as he finished speaking, Longao's figure disappeared without a trace. This time, Longao did not appear. Long Ming was very distressed. With his current strength, it was almost impossible to destroy White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire. However, if he could obtain the chaos power in the chaos tablet, everything would be worth it. However, Long Ming was not a fool. He could not completely believe Longao's words. What should he do? The first Starry Sky Empire. Bai Jing was still very helpless because he could not think of any way to deal with Longao. In terms of strength, Longao was not a concern. However, Longao had a powerful cosmic artifact. Even he could not lock onto Longao's position. If he had not experienced it himself, he would not have believed that such a thing could happen. If he could obtain the Starry Sky Divine Tool from Longao's hands, then not to mention the 12 Starry Sky Dominators, he believed that he would be invincible in the vast starry sky. If he could resist the 12 Starry Sky Dominators, then he could run amok in the entire vast starry sky. However, if he did not kill Longao, how could he obtain the cosmic artifact? Longao was not a fool. As long as he hid in the cosmic artifact, Bai Jing would not be able to do anything. He was very helpless. Who is it? Looking at the young man who suddenly appeared in front of him, Bai Jing was shocked to the extreme. Others might not know Long Ming, but how could he not know? The 9 half-step rulers of the universe had met the 12 rulers of the universe. Moreover, Long Ming did not hide his aura. Greetings, ruler of time and starry sky. He bowed respectfully. No matter how strong Bai Jing was, whether or not he was the ancestor of the first Starry Sky Empire, he was still not enough to face a true ruler of the universe. Unless Bai Jing could devour the Chaos Tablet and refine it to become a ruler of the universe, then he would have the capital. However, was that possible? Long Ming's face was very cold. I came to find you this time because I have an agreement with Longao. Longao? The ruler of time and starry sky had a relationship with Longao? This was the first time Bai Jing had heard of this. If this was true, then this matter was really serious. The oracle was not willing to help him, and the ruler of time and starry sky had a relationship with Longao. It was hard to imagine what kind of person Longao was. How could he be related to 2 rulers of the universe? If Bai Jing knew that Longao was not only related to the oracle and Long Ming, but also other rulers of the universe, who knew what Bai Jing would think? Please speak clearly, Your Excellency. Bai Jing was almost certain that the ruler of time and starry sky had not come to kill him. Otherwise, the other party would not talk nonsense with him. However, he did not relax in the slightest because he still could not be sure why the ruler of time and starry sky had come this time. Bai Jing was ready. As long as the ruler of time and starry sky wanted to deal with him, he would not hesitate to hide in the first secret realm. Chapter 24:19. Longao asked me to kill you. Bai Jing wasn't worried at all when Long Ming said that. It was still the same sentence. If the ruler of time and starry sky really wanted to kill him, he wouldn't have wasted so much time talking to him. After all, the ruler of time and starry sky could kill him in a matter of minutes. Senior, you won't do that, right? Long Ming smiled. Of course he wouldn't do that, because there was no doubt that he still didn't know what Longao was thinking. If Longao could really control the chaos power in the Chaos Stone Tablet, he wouldn't have refined it. Kill with a borrowed knife. Longao definitely wanted to use his power to destroy the first Starry Sky Empire and Bai Jing. He would really be a fool if he were to really make a move. After thinking about it, Long Ming decided to beat him at his own game. That was exactly why. Long Ming didn't hide anything. He recounted everything that had happened before, including Longao's plan to kill someone with a borrowed knife. He also told Long Ming all of his methods. After listening to everything, Bai Jing was pleasantly surprised. It seemed that the ruler of time and starry sky wasn't Longao's friend, but Longao's enemy. If that was the case, then things would be much easier. Although he couldn't lock onto Longao's position, it didn't mean that Long Ming couldn't lock onto Longao's position. Longao's strength wasn't terrifying, but the truly terrifying thing was the Starry Sky Spirit artifact in Longao's hands. Lord Ruler, I don't have any problems with that, but the biggest problem now isn't Longao's strength, but Longao's Starry Sky artifact. It's very difficult for us to lock onto his position. Long Ming nodded. Of course, he knew what Bai Jing was worried about. Longao's Starry Sky artifact was difficult to lock onto, let alone him. Bai Jing, Use your first secret realm to trap Longao. Lord Ruler, to be honest, Longao now has Gongsun He support. If I use the first secret realm, Gongsun He will definitely use the third secret realm. By then, we won't be able to trap Longao. This was what Bai Jing was most depressed about. For the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, Gongsun He was willing to shed all pretense of cordiality with him and help Longao. He couldn't do anything to Gongsun He. However, Long Ming smiled and said, "Leave Gongsun He to me. We'll deal with Longao together later." Yes. Third Starry Sky Empire. Gongsun He had been waiting for Longao to return so that he could help him search for the Chaos Tablets. However, he didn't rush him at all. No matter what, Longao had his own personal matters to attend to. After Longao was done, it wouldn't be too late to help him. After waiting for so many years, waiting a little longer was nothing. Who is it? Gongsun He. I'm the ruler of time and space. Gongsun He was completely shocked when he saw the ruler of time and space suddenly appear in front of him. He didn't fear the other 8 half-step rulers of the Starry Sky at all, but he was afraid of the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky. Gongsun He knew very well that any one of the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky could easily kill him. Why had the ruler of time and space suddenly come looking for him? Lord Ruler, I don't know why you're looking for me. Please tell me. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. Long Ming said indifferently, Gongsun He, from now on, you can no longer help Longao, especially when Bai Jing will act against Longao later. You can't do anything either. Otherwise, at this point, Long Ming did not continue, but the meaning in his words was very clear. Gongsun He was shocked. According to the agreement of the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky, they wouldn't casually intervene in the affairs of the Starry Sky. The 12 rulers of the Starry Sky basically didn't appear for so many years. In that case, why was the ruler of time and space stopping him from helping Longao? Did the ruler of time and space have a grudge against Longao? If that was the case, then things were really troublesome. Lord Ruler, I want to know why you're doing this. If it had been anyone else, they wouldn't have dared to ask such a question. However, Gongsun He was ultimately a half-step ruler of the Starry Sky. His strength was clear for all to see. Even the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky wouldn't act casually and fall out with a half-step ruler of the Starry Sky. Even if the power of the 9 great mystic realms wasn't as strong as the Primal Chaos Tablet, it was still very difficult for the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky to destroy the 9 great mystic realms. Otherwise, the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky wouldn't have allowed the 9 half-step rulers of the Starry Sky to live for so many years. Long Ming sneered and said, "You don't have the right to know. Let me give you a piece of advice. If you want to devour the Primal Chaos Tablet, be obedient and I won't mistreat you in the future." If it had been anyone else, even if it were the other 8 half-step rulers of the Starry Sky, Gongsun He would have chosen to ignore them. But the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky were the only ones Gongsun He was wary of. It wasn't worth it to lose his life for a Longao and a Primal Chaos Tablet. If he had already devoured the Primal Chaos Tablet, then things would be different. Long Ming didn't urge him at all. He just watched coldly and waited for the other party's answer. Time passed by bit. After an unknown amount of time, Gongsun He sighed deeply and said, "I won't tell anyone about this." As if afraid that Long Ming wouldn't believe him, Gongsun He agreed and immediately swore a blood oath. A wise man submits to circumstances. I won't forget you. Ha 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 ha. Long Ming's figure quickly left with a loud laugh. In a short while, he had disappeared without a trace. Only Gongsun He was left in the hall. His face was filled with helplessness as he let out a deep sigh. Until now, he had not expected that the ruler of time and Starry Sky would interfere in this matter. If he was not mistaken, there must be some unspeakable secret between Longao and the ruler of time and Starry Sky. It was a bit unkind. He had chosen to ally with Longao, but now he had to give up because of the deterrence of the ruler of time and Starry Sky. However, Gongsun He had no choice. The ruler of time and Starry Sky was too strong. It was difficult to deal with such a powerful ruler of the Starry Sky with his own strength. Longao, I'm really sorry. After thinking about it, Gongsun He finally chose to give up on Longao. If Longao could help him obtain the Primal Chaos Tablet, then he could take the risk. But now, Longao probably didn't even have a 30% chance. If he still insisted on helping Longao, then it wasn't worth it. Chapter 2420. In a short span of a few dozen days, Long Ming had already sent back news that the first cosmic empire and Bai Jing had been destroyed. Was this true? Longao didn't quite believe it. But a short while later, news of the first cosmic empire spread throughout the vast universe. Both Bai Jing and the first cosmic empire had been destroyed by a mysterious expert. Not a single one was left. The universe was shaken by the news. If it was really the first cosmic empire, then so be it. A half-step cosmic ruler could definitely destroy the first cosmic empire. But now, even Bai Jing had fallen. What had happened? Bai Jing was a half-step cosmic ruler, the strongest person under the 12 cosmic rulers. Apart from the 12 cosmic rulers, no one in the entire universe could kill Bai Jing. Even the other 8 half-step cosmic rulers couldn't do it. Who was it? Thinking about it, it seemed that only the 12 cosmic rulers could kill Bai Jing. Could it be that the person who killed Bai Jing was the legendary cosmic ruler? If so, then things were really troublesome. On a mid-level plane, Longao, I've done my job. According to our agreement, shouldn't you fulfill it now? Longao certainly didn't believe Long Ming's words. If Long Ming at his peak could destroy the first cosmic empire and Bai Jing, then he could believe it. But now, things were a little strange. In any case, Long Ming hadn't refined the Chaos Tablet and become a cosmic ruler. Even killing a peak cosmic immortal wouldn't be easy, let alone dealing with Bai Jing. In that case, it was still unknown whether the news from the vast universe was true or false. However, Longao didn't point it out. He just smiled and said, Long Ming, I'll make a decision after I confirm whether the first cosmic empire and Bai Jing have fallen. What do you think? No problem. I'll wait for your good news. As soon as he finished speaking, Long Ming got up and left quickly. In a short while, he had disappeared without a trace. Longao's expression was grave because he didn't know whether the first cosmic empire and Long Ming had been destroyed or not. Whether Long Ming's words were true or false. Whether it was true or not, Longao was ready to make a trip to the first cosmic empire to see for himself. First Starry Sky Empire. Today, the number 1 Starry Sky Empire was filled with a lifeless atmosphere. There was not a single person. Following the fall of the first Starry Sky Empire, no one dared to step into the first realm because no one knew what had happened. Longao's figure suddenly appeared. Standing outside the first plane, Longao confirmed again and again. As for whether or not there was an aura inside the first plane, he couldn't sense it for now. Due to the seal, there was no way for him to sense anything. If it hadn't been for the seal, Longao wouldn't have been so sure. However, he was now certain that the first plane in front of him contained the aura of countless people. In other words, the number 1 Starry Sky Empire was not destroyed, and Bai Jing was not dead. Long Ming was just fooling him. It was easy to guess the reason. If Long Ming had been at his peak, regardless of whether his promise was true or false, Long Ming would not have hesitated to take action. This was because Long Ming did not care about the life and death of Bai Jing and the number 1 cosmic empire at all, especially for the chaotic force within the Chaos Stone Tablet. Let alone destroying the number 1 cosmic empire and Bai Jing, Long Ming would have done the same, even if he had to destroy the 9 cosmic empires. Only now, the situation was different. Long Ming had not truly refined the tablet and became a cosmic ruler. It was impossible for him to destroy the number 1 cosmic empire and Bai Jing. The only explanation, that was Long Ming could not kill Bai Jing and destroy the number 1 cosmic empire. He was only relying on his deterrence to deter Bai Jing. Longao had already guessed that Long Ming had not only not taken action against Bai Jing, but had instead teamed up with Bai Jing to deal with him. Long Ming, Bai Jing, I'm already here. Show yourselves. What answered Longao was a fierce attack. In the next second, Bai Jing led 4 peak cosmic undying experts, the 3 Space Eagles and Bai Hua, and began to attack Longao frantically. There was no surprise. Longao had already guessed that Bai Jing had not fallen and was instead retreating. Let alone 1 against 4, even in a 1 against 1 situation, it would be hard for him to deal with 5 of them. There was no need to clash head-on. Longao turned and left. His speed was extremely fast. He did not know why, but the space around him had been completely sealed. He could definitely enter the Primal Chaos Palace. However, if that was the case, the Primal Chaos Palace would definitely be exposed. No matter what happened, Longao was not willing to reveal anything about the Primal Chaos Palace. You want to leave? Such a rare opportunity. How could Bai Jing and the rest give it up so easily? The 5 of them also flew to their limits and chased after Longao. The speed of both parties was extremely fast. Longao was very clear in his heart that if Bai Jing used the first secret realm, he would only have 2 choices. The first choice was to not be afraid of exposing the Primal Chaos Palace and forcefully enter the Primal Chaos Palace. The second choice was to borrow Gong Sun He's strength to deter Bai Jing and the First Cosmic Empire. Longao would definitely choose Gong Sun He. He had already formed an alliance with Gong Sun He, so why not use Gong Sun He's power? He was not stupid enough to take on the number 1 Cosmic Empire and Bai Jing alone. Longao and Bai Jing's speed was very fast. In just an hour, they had already crossed the distance from the first Starry Sky Empire to the third Starry Sky Empire. From the beginning to the end, Long Ming did not appear. However, Longao had already asserted that Long Ming and Bai Jing must have joined hands to kill him or trap him. At that time, both of them would be able to take advantage of the situation. Gong Sun He. Longao's voice rumbled. But what was the result? Longao could not step into the third plane at all. As for the reason, he did not know at all. However, intuition told Longao that Gong Sun He had deliberately sealed the third plane so that he could not step into it. Could it be that Gong Sun He was also involved in this matter? In just an instant, Longao's face turned gloomy. Bai Jing was quickly catching up. If he continued to hesitate, he would definitely be in big trouble. Without any other choice, Longao could only quickly enter the Primal Chaos Palace and disappear without a trace. Gone? When Bai Jing and the others arrived, they could only see a small black seal. However, Longao's figure had already disappeared. Immediately after, Long Ming also appeared and forcefully sealed the small black seal in front of him. With a very surprised expression, he said, "Such a powerful Starry Sky divine tool seems to be similar to your secret realm." Secret realm? The small black seal was similar to a secret realm. Chapter 24-21. Bai Jing and the others were shocked to hear the ruler of time and Starry Sky's words. Bai Jing, in particular, was even more shocked. Of course, Bai Jing knew what his secret realm meant. If that was the case, it was no wonder that Longao could use this Starry Sky artifact to avoid being locked on by him. However, the ruler of time and Starry Sky had locked on to Longao's black seal. This time, Longao would not be able to escape. But what was the result? The small black seal suddenly disappeared without a trace. What was going on? Bai Jing and the others were completely shocked by the sudden disappearance of the black seal. They all looked on in disbelief. Lord Ruler, what's going on? Bai Jing was very curious. He did not know how the black seal could disappear when the ruler of time and Starry Sky had locked onto it. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. Was this true? Although Bai Jing was very confident in his secret realm, he was not sure if his secret realm could be locked onto by the ruler of Starry Sky. It was still unknown whether his secret realm could be locked onto by the ruler of Starry Sky. Long Ming was also very angry. He felt even more helpless. Longao's Starry Sky artifact should be similar to your secret realm. He was overjoyed. According to the ruler of time and Starry Sky, if he had a secret realm, wouldn't he be able to ignore the ruler of Starry Sky? However, Bai Jing still did not dare to act recklessly. He knew very well what the ruler of Starry Sky's strength meant. If he was unlucky and was killed by the ruler of Starry Sky, he would not even have the chance to regret it. Lord Ruler, what should we do now? Longao has this Starry Sky divine tool. According to my guess, if there is no accident, This starry sky divine tool can only hide, but it cannot move. Cannot move? What did that mean? After thinking about it, Bai Jing instantly understood what it meant. In other words, Longao was still here. As long as he and the others locked on to this place, Longao would not be able to leave. On the plain, Gongsun Ao's face was very solemn as he said, "Old ancestor, Longao is in big trouble outside. Should we lend a hand?" Gongsun Ao was very curious, wondering what was going on with the old ancestor. Previously, he had even made an agreement with Longao. As long as the old ancestor helped Longao resist the first cosmic empire, then Longao would believe that the old ancestor was looking for the primal chaos tablet. Why did the old ancestor suddenly wash his hands of the matter? Could there be something fishy about this? Even now, Gongsun Ao still didn't know about the ruler of time and starry sky. If he did, he wouldn't have reacted this way. However, Gongsun he had sworn a blood oath not to mention anything about the ruler of time and starry sky. He knew very well what the ruler of time and starry sky meant. Once provoked, the consequences would be unimaginable. For Longao, was it worth it? For a primal chaos stone tablet that he had no confidence in, was it worth it? Without a doubt, it was definitely not worth it. From now on, we are no longer friends with Longao. If he dares to come looking for trouble, kill him without mercy. Gongsun he wasn't sure if Longao would come, because even a fool would know that this matter had something to do with him. But whether or not Longao was able to avoid this calamity was still unknown. If the old ancestor didn't want to say, then what had happened? The more the old ancestor didn't want to say, the more curious Gongsun Ao became. However, Gongsun Ao knew the old ancestor's temper. If the old ancestor wanted to say something, he didn't need to ask. He believed that the old ancestor would tell him. If the old ancestor didn't want to say, then sorry, but no matter how much he asked, the old ancestor wouldn't say half a word. Since that was the case, why should he ask for trouble? Old ancestor, what should we do now? Longao, Bai Jing, and the others were still outside. No one knew what would happen. The most important thing was whether this matter would implicate the third starry sky empire. No one knew. How could Gongsun he not know what Gongsun Ao was thinking? After thinking about it, Gongsun he said, no matter what happens outside, we shouldn't ask about it. Should we meddle? Was the old ancestor really afraid of the first cosmic empire and Bai Jing? It seemed a bit ridiculous. Whether it was in the past or now, the old ancestor had never been afraid of Bai Jing and the first cosmic empire. He certainly wouldn't believe that this was true. As for the reason, if the old ancestor didn't say it, only a ghost would know. Gongsun Ao didn't dare to ask more and directly ordered that no one from the third cosmic empire should leave the third cosmic empire without permission. Anyone who disobeyed would be killed without mercy. Although the third cosmic empire had been sealed, the outside world was very clear. Longao was besieged by the first cosmic empire and by Jing, but the old ancestor didn't do anything. No one knew why, but everyone was very curious about the old ancestor's intentions. No one dared to disobey the old ancestor's order, and no one dared to leave the third cosmic empire. The news quickly spread, and everyone who received the news was shocked. No one knew why the third cosmic empire and Longao would suddenly turn against each other. Under normal circumstances, Longao would have been chased to the third cosmic empire's doorstep. Gongsun he would definitely help. Otherwise, the two wouldn't have formed an alliance. But what was the result? Not only did Gongsun he not help Longao, but he also directly sealed the third cosmic empire, directly blocking Longao from entering the third cosmic empire. Everyone was talking about it, and no one knew what had happened between the two. However, the only thing that was certain was that after this incident, the alliance between Longao and Gongsun he would definitely be completely broken. Whether or not the two of them would turn against each other in the future, or even fight, was still a mystery. Longao was already a celebrity in the vast starry sky, because a person who could shake the 9 great cosmic empires was indeed a miracle. Because of this, everyone was very concerned about the movements of Longao and the first cosmic empire. They wanted to see if Longao could successfully escape this disaster. Outside the third plane, of course, Long Ming wouldn't show up casually, but he had already discussed with Bai Jing. Since things had already happened, they had to lock onto Longao no matter what and kill Longao. Long Ming didn't know what was going on in his heart. Not only was he not grateful, but he also wanted to kill Longao. Sometimes, even Long Ming didn't know what was going on. Maybe he didn't want others to know about his identity and things. As long as he could kill Longao and the others, no one would know about it. Lord Ruler, we can't go on like this. We can't lock onto this place forever. Chapter 24-22. Bai Jing was helpless. Longao's Starry Sky Divine Tool seemed a bit too abnormal. Not only could it avoid being locked on by him, but it could also avoid being locked on by the Starry Sky Ruler. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it. No wonder Longao was so fearless. It turned out that he had something to rely on. Long Ming's heart was also furious. Not to mention Longao's strength. Just the fact that Longao had a Starry Sky Divine Tool made it difficult for him to lock on to the opponent's position. If his cultivation could be restored to the Starry Sky Ruler, then with the power of time, he could completely deal with Longao, even if Longao had such a heaven-defying Starry Sky Divine Tool. But now, he hadn't really refined the Chaos Stone Tablet, and becoming a Starry Sky Ruler was still far away. Not only that, Long Ming didn't dare to casually make a move, because he couldn't reveal that he hadn't recovered his Starry Sky Ruler, especially if Bai Jing knew. If it was leaked, there was no doubt that Bai Jing would definitely deal with him. Long Ming knew that with his current strength, he was definitely not Bai Jing's opponent. If Bai Jing used the secret realm to help snatch his Chaos Stone Tablet, then things would be troublesome. But as long as he didn't make a move, Bai Jing wouldn't know that he hadn't refined the Chaos Stone Tablet. Wait. In the current situation, there seemed to be no other good way except to wait. Whether it was Bai Jing or Long Ming, they had completely sealed off the surroundings. This in itself was extremely rude for the Third Starry Sky Empire. Just this point alone was enough for the Third Starry Sky Empire to fall out with the First Starry Sky Empire. But the result? The Third Starry Sky Empire didn't make the slightest move, as if nothing had happened. It didn't seem like the Third Starry Sky Empire's character. If there wasn't something fishy, who would believe it? The other 7 Starry Sky Empires were just watching from the sidelines. Of course, they would not intervene casually. Inside the Chaos Palace, Longao wasn't angry at all, because in this dog-eat-dog world, there were no eternal enemies and no eternal friends. Although Gongsun He and he had formed an alliance, it was natural for Gongsun He to betray him for some benefits. What was the reason? He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. Longao was almost certain that Gongsun He must have done this for some reason. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to do this. Could it be because of Long Ming? Other than this reason, Longao really couldn't think of any other reason why Gongsun He would choose to give up on him. It was fine to give up, but would Gongsun He give up on the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet? It was definitely impossible. Longao had no doubt about it. The news was that many of the 12 Starry Sky Rulers had gone through countless reincarnations and still hadn't truly refined the Primal Chaos Tablet. Among them, the Oracle, Xiling, the Immortal Tyrant Body, and the others had truly refined it. Everyone knew very well what it meant to not have refined the Primal Chaos Tablet. The Starry Sky Ruler hadn't refined the Primal Chaos Tablet, so he was no different from an ordinary Starry Sky cultivator. When Bai Jing and Gongsun He heard the news, they were shocked because the two of them had already become half-step Starry Sky Rulers. If they could kill the Starry Sky Ruler and obtain the Primal Chaos Tablet, then they could definitely replace him. They didn't know who had spread the news and whether it was true or not. If it was true, then everything would be good and they could give it a try. If it was false, then they might not even be able to survive, let alone kill the Starry Sky Ruler and obtain the Primal Chaos Tablet. The others certainly wouldn't dare to take the risk. Even if they wanted to take the risk, they would first have to find the location of the Starry Sky Ruler. All the Starry Sky Rulers came and went without a trace. However, the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, the peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm, including the half-step Starry Sky Rulers, were already tempted because they had already reached the peak of martial arts. If they wanted to go one step further and become invincible, there was only one way, and that was to devour the primal chaos tablet. Chapter 24-23. The Martial Heaven Continent. The Outer Sea, the Crystal Palace. Yi Gudu said angrily, "Father, I've just received news from the vast universe. Among the 12 rulers of the universe, aside from you and Violet Spirit, none of them have truly refined the primal chaos tablet." Master God Diviner didn't show the slightest anger. What did that mean? "Father, according to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, this matter must have been spread by Longao." He waved his hand. Master God Diviner stopped Yi Gudu from continuing. "I already told you that you shouldn't interfere in the affairs of the universe. All you need to do is focus on refining the primal chaos tablets." He didn't show the slightest anger. What did his father mean? His father's attitude caused Yi Gudu to be a little confused. Shrugging helplessly, Yi Gudu said, "Father, I know what I should do." Master God Diviner smiled. Bai Jing and Longao are working together to deal with Longao. With his current strength, he can't contend against the two of them. Aside from this method, it seems that Longao won't be able to get out of this predicament. So that was the case. Yi Gudu naturally hoped that Longao would die. However, for some reason, his father was always protecting Longao. He didn't know what to do. However, he definitely wouldn't go against his father's wishes. How could Master God Diviner not know what his son was thinking? "Gudu, as long as Longao doesn't devour the primal chaos tablets, we can control them." Hearing his father's words, Yi Gudu felt even better. "Father, since that's the case, why did you let Longao devour the primal chaos tablets when the primal chaos planes descended?" Yi Gudu really couldn't understand this. If Longao really did refine the primal chaos tablets and become the ruler of the universe, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Master God Diviner smiled. "If Longao really did refine the primal chaos tablets, I wouldn't have given him the chance." This was something Master God Diviner had decided on long ago. Although he had already deduced that Longao was a variable, as long as he could control this variable, then Longao could do whatever he wanted. If this variable was not within his control, then sorry, there was only one outcome, and that was to kill without mercy. Furthermore, Master God Diviner was confident that, as long as Longao didn't refine the primal chaos tablet and become a ruler of space, he could kill Longao whenever he wanted. Since things were already like this, Yi Gudu did not say anything more. The news that Longao spread out was really a little too shocking in the vast starry sky. The one who was most shocked was definitely Bai Jing. As the number one person below the cosmic ruler and the leader of the 9 half-step cosmic rulers, Bai Jing couldn't wait to devour the primal chaos stone tablet. Wanting to find a primal chaos stone tablet in the boundless starry sky was like searching for a needle in the ocean, and it was practically an impossible task. He had already felt despair. But now, Bai Jing seemed to have found an opportunity. If Long Ming really hadn't refined the chaos tablet and become a ruler of space, then this was indeed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for her. Bai Jing was completely confident. If the cosmic ruler of time was at her peak, she wouldn't have the slightest bit of confidence. But if the rumors were true and Long Ming hadn't refined the tablet and become a ruler of space, then she was confident that she could kill the cosmic ruler of time and seize the tablet. Was this risk worth taking? Bai Jing knew very well that there was only a 50% chance that this rumor was true. If her judgment was wrong, then sorry, but she didn't even know if she could survive, much less obtain the tablet. Attack? Or not? For a moment, Bai Jing didn't know what to do. Looking at the cosmic ruler of time in front of her, Bai Jing still couldn't decide whether she should attack or not. If she was unlucky, then she would be completely finished. As for the rumors, Bai Jing was almost certain that Longao had spread them in order to incite internal strife between her and the cosmic ruler of time. But this news was a bit too shocking for her. She really didn't want to miss this opportunity. "Lord Ruler, there's something I'd like to ask. I hope you can answer me truthfully." "Sure." Bai Jing smiled and said, "Lord Ruler, There's a rumor going around that the 12 rulers of the universe, except for Master God Diviner and Master Violet Spirit, haven't refined the Chaos Tablet a second time and become a ruler of the universe again after several reincarnations. Is that true? Bai Jing was going all out. If Long Ming really did refine the tablet and become a ruler of space, then he would immediately hide in a secret land. As for whether or not the first secret land could block the cosmic ruler of time, that was up to fate. But Bai Jing still wanted to try and see how lucky she was. If she was lucky and Long Ming didn't refine the tablet and become a ruler of space, then she could kill Long Ming, steal the tablet, refine it, and become a new ruler of space. How could Long Ming not know what Bai Jing was thinking? This was what he was most worried about. He was furious. Long Ming wasn't stupid, and he knew who had spread the rumor. If he wasn't mistaken, it had to be Longao. What a despicable Longao. He wanted to use this to get rid of her. She wanted to drive a wedge between her and Bai Jing. Then Longao would be able to leave without a hitch. Long Ming looked indifferent. He said coldly, Bai Jing, if you want to know, I can tell you a way. Please tell me, Lord Ruler. Attack me and see if you can withstand 3 of my attacks. Huh. The calmer Long Ming looked, the more Bai Jing felt unsure. Was Longao's rumor fake? That wasn't likely. Longao wouldn't dare use such a rumor. But Long Ming's reaction made Bai Jing very wary. She didn't know how lucky she was. She would be lying if she said she wasn't afraid of death. Should he make a move? Seeing that Bai Jing wasn't going to attack, Long Ming smiled and said, Bai Jing, this rumor must have been spread by Longao. As for Longao's intentions, I don't need to say more. I'm sure you know better than I do. If you and I become enemies, only one person will benefit, and that is Longao. It won't do you any good. Bai Jing nodded helplessly. In the end, she chose to give up. She didn't want to take the risk. If the first secret land couldn't withstand the attack, she wouldn't even have the chance to regret. Chapter 24-24. Bai Jing didn't dare to attack, but that didn't mean others didn't either. There were definitely people who weren't afraid of death in front of such a temptation. For the Primal Chaos Tablet, even the risk was worth it. Everyone knew that as long as they could devour the tablet, they could become a ruler of the universe and become the true ruler of the universe. In the vast universe, there were a total of 12 rulers. They were the dominator of the 5 elements starry sky, the dominator of the devouring starry sky, the dominator of the lightning starry sky, the dominator of the space starry sky, the dominator of the time starry sky, the dominator of the destruction starry sky, the dominator of the reincarnation starry sky, the dominator of the slaughter starry sky, the dominator of the divination starry sky, the dominator of the sword intent starry sky, the dominator of the immortal tyrant body starry sky, and the dominator of the darkness starry sky. According to rumors, of the 12 rulers, apart from the divine divination ruler and the sword intent ruler, none of the other rulers had successfully refined the tablet a second time. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Indeed, many people who weren't afraid of death began to frantically search for traces of the other 10 rulers. The temptation of the Primal Chaos Tablet was too great. In the vast universe, the winds and clouds changed. Bai Jing and Long Ming were already estranged. Both of them had ulterior motives and wanted to use the other. However, Bai Jing was too unstable. Long Ming didn't know if Bai Jing would take the risk to attack him. If he was at his peak, he could ignore everyone, including Bai Jing. But now, the situation was completely different. He hadn't refined the tablet yet. If Bai Jing really attacked now, he would be in a very passive position. It was better to be safe than sorry. If it was anything else, perhaps Bai Jing wouldn't take the risk. However, the temptation of the Primal Chaos Tablet was too great. Not to mention Bai Jing, if it was him, he would definitely do the same. Choose to give up? He had already shed all pretense of cordiality with Longao. This was the best time to get rid of Longao. If he missed this chance, who knew how long he would have to wait for another one? He wasn't willing. He was really unwilling. However, Long Ming knew very well that no matter how unwilling he was, it was useless. After thinking about it, Long Ming still wasn't willing to take the risk. He wasn't sure if Bai Jing would really attack him. If Bai Jing really attacked him, then he would be in big trouble. In the end, Long Ming still chose to leave. Even if he was extremely unwilling, he could only choose to leave. He had to kill Longao, but not now. An hour later, Bai Jing already knew that Long Ming had left. She almost went berserk. She was extremely regretful. Even if he was an idiot, he still knew that the news that Longao spread out was true. The so-called ruler of the starry skies of time had gone through countless samsara cycles without ever refining a chaos tablet a second time. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity was missed just like that. Regret. He was extremely regretful. If he had ignored the danger and insisted on taking action, he would have successfully killed the ruler of time and space and obtained the primal chaos tablet. Bai Jing stood there quietly, unable to come back to her senses. Bai Jing knew very well that if she missed this opportunity, it would be impossible to find another time ruler in the future. Trying to find Long Ming in this vast sea of people was like trying to find a needle in a haystack. After missing this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Bai Jing did not continue to stay. In the Third Starry Sky Empire, Gong Sun He's expression changed again and again. Of course, he knew that the news must have come from Longao, but whether it was true or not, he really did not know. However, as he watched Bai Jing leave, Gong Sun He's intuition told him that Longao news was probably true. Right at that moment, a figure suddenly flashed in the Great Hall. It was none other than Longao. This was because when Bai Jing left, the seal on the third plane had been lifted. It was because of this that Longao could enter the Third Starry Sky Empire without a hitch. Longao? Gong Sun He stood up when he saw Longao suddenly appear in front of him. He looked at Longao in shock. It was hard to imagine that Longao could survive the pursuit of Bai Jing and the others. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, it would have been hard to believe. Longao did not speak. He just stood there with a smile on his face. At that moment, Gong Sun He waved his hand and said, "Brother Long, I have my reasons for this. I hope you can understand." Gong Sun Ao was very curious when he heard the old ancestor's words. He had already guessed that there must be something fishy about the old ancestor's actions, but he still did not know the real reason. Gong Sun Ao did not speak. He just sat down and listened. Gong Sun He, I don't blame you. I believe you've already guessed that the news I spread is true. Bai Jing missed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's really sad. Of course, Gong Sun Ao knew what the news was. If it was true, then not only had Bai Jing missed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but he and the old ancestor had also missed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Because if they had helped Longao, wouldn't it be? Gong Sun Ao also found it hard to believe that the Starry Sky ruler would appear. No wonder Longao spread the news. Gong Sun He's expression was very ugly. He never thought that things would come to this. He had been chasing after the Chaos Stone tablet for so long. He had a chance to obtain it, but he didn't expect to miss it. Regret. But there was no medicine for regret in this world. Even if there were countless regrets in his heart, what had already happened. Gong Sun He sighed deeply and said helplessly, "Brother Long, I'm not the only one who would have made the same choice. With my strength, I cannot fight against the Starry Sky ruler. I didn't know that the Starry Sky ruler was just a paper tiger. She was just trying to scare me. I hope you can help me find the Starry Sky ruler." When the time comes, before Gong Sun He could finish speaking, Longao waved his hand and said with a smile, "Gong Sun He, thank you for your help before. I also treat you as a friend, so I'm prepared to do my best to help you find the Primal Chaos Tablet after this matter is settled. However, what you did was not something a friend would do. If I were to continue helping you, do you think that would be possible?" Of course it was impossible. Let alone Longao. If it were him, he wouldn't do such a thing. But for the Chaos Stone Tablet, Gong Sun He wasn't willing to give up so easily. He said, "Brother Long, listen to me. From now on, I, Gong Sun He, can swear a blood oath. You and I are allies, and we will never retreat. Even if we encounter another Starry Sky ruler, I will still stand by your side." Would Longao believe him? Chapter 24-25. Longao smiled. Actually, Gongsun he felt very guilty. Because of what happened before, he was the one who let Longao down. If it was anything else, Gongsun he would definitely choose to give it up. Only the primal chaos stone tablet. Gongsun he was very clear that with his current strength, there was only one way to become a space ruler. That was to devour the primal chaos stone tablet. He had already missed a rare opportunity. If Longao chose not to help him, then it would be very difficult for him to obtain the primal chaos stone tablet. He couldn't give up. No matter what happened, he couldn't give up. Brother Long, sighing deeply, Gongsun he still said, Brother Long, can't you give me a chance? Gongsun Ao was very shocked. Was this still the fearless old ancestor? If Longao was 100% sure of finding the tablet, then so be it. But now, the old ancestor kept begging Longao. If it was anyone else, they would have agreed long ago. Only Longao, this thing who didn't know what was good for him. All along, Gongsun Ao suppressed the anger in his heart. He had to admit that Longao was indeed a talent, and a genius that didn't appear in 10,000 years. But so what? Even if Longao broke through the pinnacle of martial Dao, he would only reach the peak starry sky immortal realm at most, which was similar to his strength. Without the secret realm, Longao would never become a half-step starry sky ruler. Not only that, Gongsun Ao always had a doubt. If Longao could find the primal chaos stone tablet, he would have refined it long ago and become a star sky ruler. Why wait until now? The only explanation was that Longao couldn't find the tablet. But for some reason, the old ancestor trusted Longao so much that Gongsun Ao couldn't do anything. Longao, don't be too arrogant. Gongsun Ao couldn't take it anymore. His face was filled with anger. If it wasn't for the old ancestor, Gongsun Ao would have attacked long ago. Why would he wait until now? But even so, Gongsun Ao endured. He was afraid he wouldn't be able to take it. He had seen arrogant people before, but he had never seen such an arrogant person. Longao didn't put him or the old ancestor in his eyes at all. This was unbearable. The secret cave could be tolerated, but not the chrysanthemum. Gongsun he didn't say anything, because he also felt that Longao had gone a little too far. Given his status, a dignified half-step starry sky ruler, he had to be so humble. If it weren't for the primal chaos tablet, he definitely wouldn't have done this. But what was the result? Not only did Longao not compromise in the slightest, but he also had an arrogant attitude. It wasn't just Gongsun Ao. Even Gongsun he was suppressing the anger in his heart. He knew very well that if Longao died, he wouldn't be able to obtain the chaos tablet. Am I arrogant? Longao, the forefather is cooperating with you because he thinks highly of you. In the vast starry sky, there are countless people who want to form an alliance with the forefather. Longao couldn't bear to listen any longer. He waved his hand impatiently. Longao said unhappily, Gongsun Ao, I'm not forcing you to cooperate with me. You can go find someone else. What do you say? Anger. Endless anger. But Gongsun Ao endured it, because without the old ancestor saying anything, he didn't dare act casually. Gongsun Ao knew that Longao's life meant nothing to the old ancestor. The only thing the old ancestor wanted was the chaos tablet. The old ancestor had already decided that Longao could help him obtain the chaos tablet. There was nothing he could do. Longao didn't give Gongsun Ao a chance to speak. He said impatiently, Gongsun Ao, Gongsun he, our alliance ends here. Longao turned and left. But what was the result? You want to leave? Before Gongsun Ao could finish speaking, Longao's figure suddenly disappeared. Forefather, are we just going to endure like this? Longao has been arrogant once, so he can be arrogant a second time and a third time. He already knows that we won't dare act. How could Gongsun he not know what Gongsun Ao meant? Sighing heavily, Gongsun he said helplessly, Longao has a cosmic artifact. Even the ruler of space and time can't lock onto Longao's position, much less us half-step rulers. If he wasn't so fearless, do you think he'd dare come? He'd been confused by his anger, but now that he thought about it, that was indeed the case. Longao's strength wasn't much, But the cosmic artifact Longao had was too heaven-defying. Even the ruler of space couldn't lock onto it. If that was the case, Longao could ignore anyone. No wonder he was so arrogant. He couldn't figure out what kind of cosmic artifact Longao had. If he had such a cosmic artifact, he could also run amok in the vast universe and ignore anyone. Thinking about how heaven-defying Longao's cosmic artifact was, Gongsun he felt helpless. He finally understood why the forefather hadn't been willing to act. The forefather's meaning was very simple. In the end, the forefather wasn't completely confident he could kill Longao. If he couldn't trap him, then the primal chaos tablet would be completely ruined. If he wasn't confident, he wouldn't act. Forefather, what should we do now? Gongsun Ao also felt helpless. He didn't know what to do. Longao was just a starry sky legend. If Longao's cultivation base could break through the limit of starry sky immortal, then as long as the old ancestor wasn't by his side, how could he resist Longao? Even if they were on the same level, Gongsun Ao did not have full confidence in defeating Longao. That was because he knew very well that Longao was just a grade 8 starry sky cultivator at that time, yet he could walk step by step until now. If he did not have any heaven-defying qualities, it was almost impossible. He would be lying if he said he wasn't worried. As the saying went, if you cut the grass without removing the roots, it would grow again when the spring breeze blew. Longao's talent and potential were there. Who knew when Longao would break through the limit of cosmic immortal? If he didn't kill Longao, then he wouldn't be at ease. Gongsun he also said helplessly, Longao is indeed troublesome, but we don't need to act. According to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, whether it's the ruler of time or space or by Jing, I believe they won't let this matter go. I just want the primal chaos tablet. I don't care about Longao's life or death. As long as he could get the primal chaos tablet and truly refine it, then everything would be worth it. This was what Gongsun he meant. Among the 9 half-step cosmic rulers, Gongsun he was the most sinister and cunning, and the most secretive. Chapter 24-26. What should he do? Longao had such a heaven-defying starry sky divine weapon. Even the starry sky ruler could not lock onto him, let alone him. It would be useless even if he fell out with him. He left the third starry sky empire. Longao did not swagger around. Since the news had spread that many starry sky rulers had not refined the chaos tablet, he believed that the vast universe would not be peaceful anymore. Longao did not want to do this unless he had no other choice. However, he could take advantage of this opportunity to stabilize the empire for a few years. If it were anyone else who dared to spread such news, they would not live to see the next day. After all, this was provoking the starry sky ruler. In the vast universe, the starry sky ruler was the most powerful existence. Who would be so free as to court death? Just as Longao was about to return to the empire and break through to the starry sky immortal realm, suddenly, the situation changed. Longao suddenly felt a splitting headache in his head, as if it was about to explode. What the hell happened? Longao didn't know. He didn't know why such a situation would happen out of nowhere. Covering his head with both hands, Longao found a plane and began to roll on the ground. It was so painful that he even forgot to enter the Chaos Palace. He let out a long scream. In a short while, the surroundings were surrounded by people. They did not know what had happened and why this person would do this. Among the hundreds of people, there were inevitably people with evil intentions. However, before these people could make a move, Longao, who was still in pain, looked around coldly. Without a word, before the people around him could react, Longao's chaos axe appeared in his hand. Holding the chaos axe with both hands, he swung it in all directions. Seeing the young man, who they did not know whether he was dead or alive, suddenly attack them, everyone was completely shocked. Not to mention Longao's strength. His aura alone was enough to sweep away everything. The axe of primal chaos cleaved down without giving anyone a chance to react. With a loud boom, the hundreds of people in the surrounding area vanished into thin air. Longao's cultivation had successfully broken through to the Starry Sky legend realm. Not to mention ordinary Starry Sky cultivators, even Starry Sky immortals might not be Longao's opponent. This was Longao. He was incomparably powerful, able to kill a universe undying. Longao didn't hesitate in the slightest because the situation just now was too dangerous. The slightest carelessness would have caused him to fall into eternal damnation. It was precisely because of this. Longao did not hesitate to attack. Taking advantage of the fact that he had nothing to do, Longao turned around and returned to the Primal Chaos Palace. At this moment, Longao finally heaved a sigh of relief. There was no need to elaborate on the Primal Chaos Palace's power. Not even a star ruler could lock onto the Primal Chaos Palace's location, let alone an ordinary person, within the Primal Chaos Palace. Until now, Longao was still in a state of shock because he didn't know why his head hurt so much. For a moment, it was as if his primordial spirit had left his body. 9 Revolutions Chaos Formula? He didn't know why, but his intuition told Longao that the splitting headache was definitely related to the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra. Now, Longao's 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra had already reached the 6th revolution, which was the so-called Starry Sky Mastery. As for the 7th, 8th, and even 9th revolution, who knows when he would be able to break through. However, Longao already knew what was going on. If there were no accidents, the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra would start to refine his primordial spirit. As for what it meant, he still didn't know. However, Longao knew that this would definitely be beneficial to him. He immediately sat on the ground and began to cultivate the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra. After a full 10 days, Longao found that in just 10 days, his primordial spirit was continuously refined by the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra, becoming hundreds of times stronger. What kind of concept was this? In other words, today, Longao was still a Starry Sky legend. However, his primordial spirit was strong enough to contend against a peak Starry Sky immortal. In other words, even a peak Starry Sky immortal wouldn't be able to suppress Longao with just his primordial spirit. Longao was pleasantly surprised to the extreme. If this person's luck came, he wouldn't be able to stop it. Longao was looking forward to the last 3 revolutions of the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra. What kind of power would it have? The first 6 revolutions of the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra, each realm was a qualitative leap, especially the 6th revolution, Starry Sky Mastery. Not only could it shatter the starry sky, but it could also compress the cracks in the starry sky. What kind of concept was this? Longao was full of confidence that the Starry Sky Mastery's power was something that even the 12 Starry Sky rulers couldn't do, let alone ordinary Starry Sky cultivators. It was hard to imagine what kind of power the highest realm of the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra, the 9th revolution, would have. Longao sighed helplessly. He had tried countless times, but each time ended in failure. Not to mention the 8th and 9th revolutions, just the 7th revolution alone couldn't be broken through. Longao knew that the first 6 revolutions could be broken through by going through life and death situations. However, the last 3 revolutions might not be broken through even if one went through life and death situations. If that was the case, things would be troublesome. It seemed that one couldn't break through the 7th revolution of the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra by relying on hard work. The most important thing was luck. If one was lucky, one might be able to break through by drinking water. If one was unlucky, not to mention drinking water, one might not be able to break through even after tens of thousands of years. Longao was also depressed to the extreme. The tempering of the primordial spirit this time was really too useful for Longao. After leaving the Primal Chaos Palace, Longao found that this plane seemed a little strange. This was because for so many years, such a thing had never happened to him. Why would he trigger the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra when he came to this plane and start tempering his essence spirit? Was there something fishy about this plane? Longao sensed that this plane didn't seem to have any level. In other words, this plane was neither a low-level plane nor a mid-level plane, let alone a high-level plane. If he hadn't experienced it himself, he would have found it hard to believe that such a plane existed in the vast starry sky. However, the starry sky was boundless, so strange things weren't surprising. However, Longao didn't leave. Instead, he went deep into the plane to see what was going on. Many experts. Longao sensed that there were many experts in this plane. Among them, there were several peak starry sky immortal experts, dozens of starry sky immortal experts, and many starry sky legends. It was a little strange that there were so many starry sky experts in one plane, and they were all living in harmony. There were only so many peak starry sky immortal experts in the entire vast starry sky. Chapter 24-27. Longao was careful because he didn't know what was going on with this plane. His intuition told him that this plane was definitely not simple. It was a very secretive plane. If he didn't rely on his innate ability to sense, he believed that he wouldn't be able to sense that there were actually so many powerhouses in this plane. Hiding one's aura. Longao had already decided to explore what was going on with this plane. Since this plane could trigger the 9-revolution chaos mantra, then Longao didn't have the slightest hesitation and immediately ran the 9-revolution chaos mantra to see if he could find any clues. If he didn't use the 9-revolution chaos mantra, nothing would happen. Longao was very shocked to find that as long as he ran the 9-revolution chaos mantra in his body, his head would hurt very badly. The headache was splitting, as if it was about to explode. The more it was like this, the more Longao thought that there was something wrong with this plane. Otherwise, why would he feel a splitting headache whenever he used the 9-revolution chaos mantra? To say that there was nothing fishy, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. The pain was too great. Even Longao couldn't bear it. In desperation, Longao could only temporarily not use the 9-revolution chaos mantra. What the hell was going on? He couldn't figure it out no matter how he thought about it. Almost without guessing, Longao already knew that the 9-revolution chaos mantra he had was absolutely heaven-defying. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to live until now. For so many years, his 9-revolution chaos mantra had never had such a thing happen. This was the first time. Longao couldn't figure out what was going on with this plane. Why would he feel a splitting headache whenever he used the 9-revolution chaos mantra? Unable to find the reason, Longao was like a headless fly, not knowing where to go at all. This plane was very big. Even Longao couldn't sense how big this plane was. Very helpless. More than that, he was depressed. Without a choice, Longao could only continue forward. He didn't know why, but he kept feeling that something was wrong. If he didn't find the reason, who knew what would happen in the future? If he didn't settle this matter, he would definitely not leave. That was it. Longao carried endless doubts in his heart as he slowly walked forward. Wherever he went, he could not casually circulate the 9-revolution chaotic technique. Longao was confident that as long as he forcefully circulated the 9-revolution chaos mantra, he would definitely be able to find the secret. But what was the result? If this continued, who knew what would happen? Longao did not dare to take the risk, nor did he dare to gamble. He walked aimlessly. After walking for an unknown period of time, Longao began to feel a little impatient. If this situation continued, he believed that even after tens of thousands of years, he might not be able to find the secret, let alone now. In desperation, Longao could only continue to use the 9-revolution chaos mantra. Just as he circulated the 9-revolution primal chaos mantra, he felt waves of pain in his mind. It was as if an entire mountain was pressing down on him. He gritted his teeth and endured the pain. He absolutely couldn't give up. Otherwise, when would he know what was going on? Longao gritted his teeth and endured it, but for some reason, Longao felt more and more pain in his head. If this continued, he believed that in a few minutes, he would directly faint. What kind of concept was this? Give up? If he chose to give up at this time, then all his previous efforts would be wasted. Persist. But in the end, Longao still didn't persist because he didn't know when he would faint. There were too many experts in this mysterious plane. If he fainted, he wouldn't even know how he died. Peak starry sky immortal? At this time, Longao suddenly sensed a very powerful aura. If there was no accident, this person must be a peak starry sky immortal. Without using the 9 revolution chaos mantra, it was impossible to find the secret of this mysterious plane by relying on his own strength. Now there was only one way, and that was to find someone to ask what was going on. Who are you? Seeing Longao suddenly appear in front of him, Yulong was very surprised. Especially when he sensed the strength of the other party, he was even more shocked. The other party was only a starry sky legend, yet he could come here without anyone noticing. This in itself explained everything. If the other party had attacked just now, it would have been really difficult for him to deal with. Longao, how should I address you? Longao was very famous outside. It could be said that there was no one who didn't know him, and for so many years, no one dared to shake the status of the 9 great starry sky empires. Longao could be said to be the first in history. However, this peak starry sky immortal definitely didn't know Longao's origin. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such an expression on his face. Yulong, Yulong? Longao had never heard of this name, but he wasn't surprised at all. In the vast starry sky, apart from the 9 great starry sky empires, there were also many peak starry sky immortal realm rogue cultivators. It was natural that he didn't know. Longao said, "Brother Yulong, I came here mainly because I suddenly sensed something strange when I passed by this plane. So I came to have a look. Is there anything fishy about this plane?" To be honest, Longao knew very well that if he beat around the bush, not only would Longao not tell him, but Longao might also be vigilant. At that time, it wouldn't be worth it if they became enemies. But even so, Yulong was more surprised than vigilant. He said, "There's no harm in telling you. Many people know about this secret. I believe you can sense my presence, and you can also sense the presence of others." Yes, Longao didn't hide this at all. In addition to sensing Yulong's presence, he could also sense the presence of others. It was just that he chose Yulong in the end. Countless years ago, us so-called old guys suddenly sensed something strange about this plane, so we all entered it. After so many years of exploration, we gradually discovered that there is indeed something strange about this plane. If it were someone else, Yulong wouldn't have told him. However, the other party's strength was obvious. Since he dared to find him, it meant that he had nothing to fear. Besides, this secret wasn't a secret in this plane. Even if Yulong didn't tell him, Yulong believed that Yulong would find out about it through others. Instead of that, Yulong might as well make more friends. Having more friends was better than having more enemies. I wonder what's so strange about this plane? Chapter 24-28. I don't know. Don't know? Longao didn't quite believe it. If they didn't know, why would Yulong and the others stay here? Could it be that they were here to enjoy the scenery? Of course, Yulong could guess what Longao was thinking. He shrugged his shoulders helplessly and said, "Longao, to tell you the truth, when all of us stepped into this plane that year, we only sensed that there was a mysterious power in this plane. It was of great help to our cultivation." So that was it. Longao already knew what Yulong meant. It seemed that not only Yulong, but also the others in the mysterious plane didn't know what was going on. The mysterious power was also the mysterious power of his 9 revolution primal chaos mantra. The reason why Longao stayed behind was most importantly for this mysterious power. "Thank you. Since you've sensed this mysterious power, why don't you stay? Although we still can't pinpoint its exact location, I know a place where it's abundant. In that case, I won't be polite." Not only Yulong, but the others had also found a suitable place to cultivate. Otherwise, why would Yulong and the others be reluctant to leave after so many years? How powerful was the mysterious power? Before entering the mysterious plane, Yulong and the others were only starry sky legends or starry sky immortals. If they cultivated normally, who knew how long it would take for them to break through the limit of starry sky immortals? But in the mysterious plane, this time was greatly shortened. This was the real reason why they didn't choose to leave even if they broke through the limit of starry sky immortals. Although they had broken through the limit of starry sky immortals, it wasn't the true peak of the martial path. There was still the half-step starry sky ruler. As for the starry sky ruler, no one dared to dream of it. Because everyone knew that there was only one way to reach the Starry Sky Ruler Realm, and that was to devour the Primal Chaos Tablets. As for the half-step Starry Sky Ruler Realm, it was a different story. Although the 9 half-step Starry Sky Rulers had broken through by devouring the 9 great secret realms, no one knew if they would have a chance to do so if they stayed in the mysterious plane. What if there was a chance? Along the way, Longao and Yulong had become friends. The two found that their personalities were very compatible. In a huge cave. Longao, this is the cave that I discovered. If we cultivate here, it will bring us indescribable benefits. He nodded. In fact, there was no need for Yulong to say anything. Longao had already sensed the difference in this cave. This mysterious power was very strange. If he stayed in the cave to cultivate, it would indeed bring indescribable benefits to his cultivation. Yulong, this cave alone is far from enough. I believe you have already guessed that this mysterious power is extremely powerful. If we can find the source of this power, at this point, Longao did not continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Yulong certainly knew what Longao meant. If he could find the source of this power, it would be of great help to his cultivation. He might even be able to break through to the half-step Starry Sky Ruler Realm. However, Yulong wasn't surprised at all. Instead, he said helplessly, Longao, you've only just stepped into this mysterious plane. Many of us have been here for countless years, but we still haven't succeeded in finding the mysterious source of power. If they could find it earlier, they wouldn't have waited until now. This was also the most depressing thing for Yulong regarding this point. How could Longao not know? He didn't continue to dwell on this issue. Facts spoke louder than words. It was useless to say more nonsense. Yulong, then I'll start cultivating. Okay, you stay here and cultivate. I'll leave for a few months. Yulong didn't say what he was going to do, and Longao didn't ask. Because he knew very well that if Yulong wanted to say, he didn't need to ask. He believed that Yulong would tell him. If Yulong didn't want to say, then even if he asked, Yulong wouldn't say a word. Since that was the case, why bother asking for trouble? Okay. After watching Yulong leave, Longao began to carefully sense the cave around him. This mysterious power shouldn't be chaos force. As for why it could trigger his 9 revolution chaos mantra, it was still unknown. Longao didn't need to circulate the 9 revolution chaos mantra. He was sure that if he forced it, he would definitely have a splitting headache. No one knew what would happen then. As for the source of power, it was definitely not nearby. According to Yulong, there were many caves like this in the mysterious plane. In this case, if the source of power was nearby, then didn't it mean that there were many sources of power in the mysterious plane? It was completely nonsense. As for where the source of power was in the plane, Longao certainly didn't know. However, things had already come to this point. If he couldn't find the source of power, he wouldn't give up. Longao sat on the ground and began to cultivate. He didn't know if he didn't cultivate, but when he started cultivating, he felt helpless. Longao found that this mysterious power not only couldn't help him break through quickly, but also hindered him. What was going on? He felt a little depressed. He thought that by cultivating in this cave, he could use this mysterious power to break through from the Starry Sky Legend Realm to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. However, Longao never thought that this mysterious power would actually hinder his cultivation. If this continued, not to mention breaking through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm with this mysterious power, it might even cause his realm to regress because of this mysterious power. It wasn't impossible for him to regress from the Starry Sky Legend Realm to the Starry Sky Realm. Longao was really frightened and immediately stopped cultivating. His face was extremely gloomy. He looked around with an ugly expression. Why did this mysterious power hinder him but not Yulong? According to Yulong, he used this power to break through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. In this case, it seemed that this mysterious power was only targeting him. What should he do? Longao's face was very solemn. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. In desperation, he could only circulate the 9 revolution chaos mantra in his body to see what was going on with this mysterious power. In this case, Only the 9-revolution chaos mantra could figure out what was going on. The result? As soon as he circulated the 9-revolution chaos mantra in his body, Longao's head immediately ached. It was as if he was being hit by a hammer. Every hit was so hard that he almost fainted. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.